Ha! Hey, y'all. Good morning. I bet y'all are just now getting in here. Hang on with me. I'm going to get everything set up for us. Happy Sunday morning to you, by the way. I'm looking at stuff on my monitor now, so excuse me. I've got to get the proper stuff ready for you before we officially begin. I made you this big, long slideshow, and I kind of like just talking to you better, but I'm going to use these slides for my notes here. There we go. Okay, I got those out of the way. What's happening, y'all? Let me know you can hear me okay, etc. A lot of folks registered today. Crazy for a Sunday, even. What do you know? All right, let's see. If you can hear me, let me know. There's probably a little 30-second delay or something. I didn't upgrade Webinar Jam to the YouTube Live version for this one, but for any members who are on Wednesday's video conference, which is, of course, held at the legitimate studio, we'll be using the new fancy upgrade. So I think it's pretty cool. That's the word on the street, is that it's pretty cool. Okay. Fioras, here's me from the UK. Dude, is it this night over there, isn't it? Larry's here. Hey, Wolfgang, what's up, man? Aniko? Man, why do I always screw up everybody's name? Dave can hear me. Sweet, man. Pavel, what's up, dude? Mike is here. Karen. All right, awesome. Thank you. Nice furniture. Hey, you know what the nicest one is? You see that right there? That is an actual 1983 or so big, like old school TV with the VCR built into it. And there's nothing else will fit there. So I think they had the cabinets made, this house is pretty old. When they built the house, they had the cabinets made to fit that television. So I just that's all I got. This is the big ass TV in there, which of course no one ever uses or watches because it's in an office. So useless trivia there before we get started. Hey, speaking of getting started, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. So for all of you who are just joining us, for the inevitable person who wonders, is this shenanigans? No, it's not. I mean, of course it's shenanigans, but it is in fact live. So we really are live. It's Sunday, the 8th today, 10 o'clock in the morning, etc. at all. So we are here. I'm feeling good. I hope you are. I'm injured. This is what happens when you take an action figure to the face. I have a little boy. He's turning 5. He gets a little excitable with the Batman action figures, and Batman action figure can mess you up if you take it to the face. So pow, right there last night. Looking good. Okay. But thankfully, I don't make my money from modeling. I think we'd all be in trouble if that were the case. So, okay, let's get cracking. So I got this big slideshow made for you, and I prefer just to talk to you. So I'm gonna go from notes and slides combined today, if you don't mind. So let's go. It is we are officially beginning now. And I'll come to the other monitor here so I can see, y'all can see me and everything. Everything's cool. Awesome. The person from 22maya.com is here. I've missed you, 22maya.com person. So we have someone who loves to come to my webinars and talk about how we can buy things at their website. And that website, in case you want to know, is 22maya.com. I have no idea what they sell, but apparently people really like to come and go for my webinars to buy their stuff because they're always here. So welcome, person who likes to talk about 22maya.com. I hope that spamming my chat roll proves to be very, very successful for you. So the best of luck with that, kind sir. That's 22maya.com, in case everyone wants to know. Of course, it's going to be in the chat about 7 million times. So if you don't see it, it's 22maya.com. Apparently, they have incredible bargains there. All right, let's get started. I won't pick on that poor person anymore. All right, so today's webinar is really all about how to essentially overcome the weirdness, right? So I made this, interestingly enough, I made this for my members. So I have something called the Kern Inner Circle that I'm very proud of, and we serve, I don't know, about 1,400 entrepreneurs worldwide, and I talk to them every other Wednesday, the second and fourth Wednesday of every month, to be exact. And their challenges inevitably come to the mental part of this game, So what I'm going to be sharing with you is specifically for entrepreneurs. And if you enjoy it, thank those members, because it was inspired by talking to them and helping them work through some of this stuff. So I'm curious about you. I wonder if you ever experience any of this stuff. So have you ever felt like you were under so much pressure that you just froze, or even more common that you had so many things to do that you just like couldn't do anything, like, oh, I gotta, like, as it relates to our business, I have to build an opt-in page. I got to write a sales letter. I got to write an email. I got to get traffic. Like, and then you just kind of freeze up, and it freaks you out. Totally normal. Or, all right, have you ever known exactly what to do and how to do it, but you just like didn't do it? So have you ever, bought 9 million different information products and like either A, not gone through them at all, or B, gone through them and like, yep, this makes perfect sense. I can see exactly how this would work, and then just never done it, or have you ever been thinking, okay, I'm going to, go and try to get these results or whatever they may be. And then you see someone else and you compare yourself to them, and then you just never really get it done because you feel like, oh, I'm never going to be able to do what they did. There's no point or anything like that. Well, if you felt any of that stuff, you're not alone. I have felt it too, many times, and so have a lot of other marketers. And I know this to be true because I talk to them about it. And it seems to be this kind of stuff is the greatest stumbling block. So I want to tell you, I don't even need a disclaimer for this. I want to tell you, let me get my typical results here, that these results are typical, right? So we don't even have to have fine print here. This is like definitely going to happen to you. Number one, we're in business, we're entrepreneurs. Even more difficult, we are trying to sell things on the internet, which is constantly moving. It can be very complex. It's very, very difficult to get attention a lot of times. So with that said, this is all going to be very hard. Business, is going to be hard. You know this, right? That's probably why you're here. You read my email and you're like, yeah, dude, I can completely relate to that. The stuff gets really hard. So we know that's going to happen. We know that's a given. We know you're going to experience overwhelm. Everybody does. Okay. You're going to get confused. You will probably, I might even contribute to this involuntarily. You will probably get conflicting information from different people, and you trust both parties. So like I might say, hey, this works better than this. And then someone else that you trust might say, no, this works better than this. And you're like, what, dude, what works better? The answer is it's subjective and depends on what you're trying to do, right? But that happens. There's so much coming at us. I hope this happens. Well, I kind of hope it happens to you, but I also hope it doesn't. And that is you can experience complacency, right? So scenario number one, things work really, really well, which they're kind of bound to if you keep working, good guys always win. It's my theory anyway. So things work really, really well. And you're like, well, I don't really need to take that training, or I don't need to continue working on my skills. And then you get kind of complacent and then you feel stuck. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't know. I don't really have the drive anymore. Like, You ever have it happen? I saw one of our members at the gym. I see him about every couple of days, actually. And dude's got a photography business and is eclipsing $1 million a year. He just started 3 years ago from nothing, right? And so it's pretty sweet. I take no credit, by the way. But it was the end of the year, and I'm like, dude, you doing? I would assume you're doing a deadline sale, right? This is before New Year's Eve. He's like, no, man, I'm just going to let the team take a break. And I'm like, buddy, you're doing great. That's complacency. This is the perfect time to generate extra revenue for the end of the year. It happens to everybody, okay? And you're going to experience distraction. That's a typical result. Probably right now, there's a large percentage of people, I'm not even going to hassle you about it, that are like watching this, and then you got your phone open, and then there's like Facebook open in another browser, and then there's chat and stuff. You're going to have all of that, right? And all of that stuff can and will contribute to you getting less satisfaction, happiness, revenue, whatever, than you could and that you want. So if we know these things are bound to happen, the first thing we can do to make progress is to quit pretending like they should not happen and just accept the reality that they're going to happen, and then figure out, okay, when they happen, how do we move past them? And how do we have it where there's not an effect on us? So they happen and it's just like water off a duck's back, and you're ready to roll. Remember, I sent you those emails and I was like, hey man, here's all the crazy crap that happened to me. Grandfather died, father died, divorced, remarried, wife in coma, 2 new children. Like all over a couple of years. How was I able to continue working and actually have the best years of my life during that incredible pressure and intensity? Well, I'll share it with you. Okay. So in order for me to do a good job, let me make sure you can still hear me, by the way. Just like say something if you can hear me. I always get a little bit nervous that y'all can't hear me. Hey, Travis from both Fort Lauderdale and Jamaica. What's up? Think y'all can hear me? Looks like we're cool. All right, good. Okay, so here is the thing. What I'm going to share with you is the stuff that got me through the trenches and continues to act as a shield against weirdness for me personally. I do not have all the answers. I am by no means like a spiritual or self-help leader at all. Everything that I'm talking to you about today is from the standpoint of entrepreneurial success, right? And what it takes for you to sort of have a really tough mind to make it as an entrepreneur, because it's very difficult. And with that said, what I'm going to share with you is built on a series of beliefs. And I would like it if you would kindly let me know if you agree with these beliefs or not. For the record, this is not a trick question. I agree with all of them. Okay, so I agree with all of these beliefs. So number one seems pretty simple, right? It's weird. Siri just started talking to me. I have my phone over here in case something breaks, or Aurora can text me and let me know. So thing number one, belief number one, we will have better results by focusing on what we want as opposed to what's wrong and what's freaking us out. True or false? All right, if you said true, I'm with you 100%. When you're overwhelmed, just think, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Not what is overwhelming me. All right, that'll help you. I have a technique for all of this, by the way. Belief number two, we're more likely to get what we want if we have a powerful reason why we want it, right? So you've heard that probably before. Like guys like Tony Robbins talk about it. I believe him. I think he's right that just wanting stuff isn't enough to pull you towards getting that goal completed. You have to have a powerful driving force, right? Makes sense? Okay, so I think we can accept that to be true. The next one should be a no-brainer, and that is, as entrepreneurs, this is a big one, by the way. We're going to circle back to this. This is a game changer, this belief, when we really get into it here. Our reward or income, in this case, is directly proportional to the value we provide the market, which means the more good we do for our marketplace, the more value we provide to them, the more we will be rewarded as a general rule, right? The more money we will make is going to be a result of the more value we provide. Does that make sense? That's like the king right there in terms of these, okay? The next one, this is one that is pretty simple to grasp and understand, is that our actions are influenced by our thoughts and focus. Okay, so if we think about bad stuff all the time, we're probably going to make bad decisions and do bad actions. If we think about victory, if we think about helping people, we're probably going to make different decisions and make different actions, right? Simple, okay? So here's where the last two now, these are the ones that are not so simple, okay? These are the ones that are not spoken about very much, but I believe them very much to be true. Number one, the way we view ourselves, meaning our identity, how we perceive ourselves, our self-image, influences our thoughts and focus. Do you believe that to be true? So if we self-identify as, what's the metaphor I like to use, or the triathletes, okay? So if we say, yeah, I'm an athlete, baby. I'm a triathlete, I'm a winner. You know, I'm a health nut. If that's how we self-identify, we're more likely to think about things like proper nutrition, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, etc. Whereas if our self-image is that of John Belushi from Animal House, kind of a little bit different of a self-image, we're going to think about, where can I get some cold beers? We're going to get little chocolate donuts. You know, where's the next party, right? Makes sense, okay? All right, so finally, our reason why is also affected by how we view ourselves. So let's say our goal is success, right? If we view ourselves as a victim, the reason we want that success might be to show those who persecuted us that they were wrong. Does that make sense? Whereas if our goal is success and we view ourselves as an example, our goal, our reason why we want that success might be so we can be providers, and so that we can help others along the journey with us, right? We're both, in both scenarios, we're still going for success, but the driving force is significantly different. That driving force is created by our self-image. Does that make sense to you? So I know we got right into it there, but I just want to give you sort of like, okay, hey man, this is kind of the premise that we're building everything on. If you don't like it, that's cool. I want to save you your Sunday morning. Okay, so this is kind of the realm that we're going to be working on. Just so you guys are here, Dr. Vodka, there's a person here named Dr. Vodka that just says, I had donuts and vodka. Well, you know what? You're not alone. I have done that before and I enjoyed it at the time. So I hope you enjoyed it too, sir. Okay, so about this presentation, we're about to get into it. I'll give you a bit of two pieces of warning. Number one, This isn't a sales webinar. I will make you an offer, but this is not a sales webinar. So a lot of people like to get on these things and model like my pitches or whatever. Don't really think this is one to be modeled from a sales perspective. This is more of a class. And specifically, this is a preview class. This is a preview of a class that I'm teaching called The Path. The Path will be taught live. It starts on the 16th, and the Path is free. So at the end of this, even though it's not a sales webinar, I am going to try to sell you a free class as a bribe to get you to join the current inner circle, which is $397 a month. So that's what's coming. Okay. That's the other purpose of the webinar. If you're not cool with that, that's fine. Just leave when I start pitching. Let me help you regardless. Okay. But if you're watching this as like, okay, let me see the new techniques for selling on webinars, this isn't really for that. All right. This is just me teaching you some cool stuff. And at the end, I'll say, hey, if you want this class, take it. If you don't, that's okay. All right. So let's get started. Okay. So like I told you in the email, went through all kinds of crap, really, really heavy, best financially, or actually in general, best 3 years of my life. Boom, 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 each one eclipsing the other. So what I'm going to do for you today is two things. Number one, I'm going to tell you how all of this came to be, and then I'm going to tell you how to do everything. All right. And it should be easy. I think you'll agree that once we're done, you're like, damn, that's a really refreshing way to look at things. So I got to first tell you the story about how I figured all of this stuff out. And this is just the story, which will be mercifully brief, should help you tremendously from the perspective of if you compare yourself to others and ever think that like, oh, I can never achieve X, Y, Z because I'm not like so-and-so. Dude, I can almost guarantee you haven't done all the stupid stuff I've done. Okay, so here's the thing. I always wanted, probably like you, we're probably very similar. I always really wanted three things, which eventually evolved into four things. The three original drivers for me was I wanted to be successful, right? I wanted to have money, which success, duh. I wanted to not have to have a job that sucked, right? I didn't want to have to do anything that, I had all these terrible jobs, so I didn't want to have a job. And I wanted to be somebody, meaning I wanted to be respected by my community. And I didn't really care about like being famous, like the Kardashians or whatever at first. But I wanted to actually be respected for the work that I did, for like, being a good person, right? So very, very common goals, right? So that was, ever since I can remember, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't get off to a very good start at all. So my parents divorced when I was 2. My mother remarries this dude. His last name was Tittle. I had to take his last name. So between ages 5 and 16, when they were married, my last name was Tittle. You're welcome. Anyone who wants to have a good laugh at that, imagine high school roll call. My first name, by the way, is Irwin. My middle name is Frank. So they would call me anything where you had to call the person's name. Irwin Tittle. Is Irwin Tittle here? I'm like, I don't know, guys. Nope. Don't know any Irwin Tittles. My name's Max Power. You know what I mean? It's like terrible. So anyway, this Tittle guy, I don't know what his deal was, but he liked to tell me I was stupid, lazy, weak, and worthless every day. And I believed him. And my mother was a family therapist, and she was very fascinated with the topic of addiction. My biological father was alcoholic. It killed him. And she liked to tell me, out of really kindness, I think, she was trying to help me. She was like, hey, your father and his father before him and your grandmother were raging alcoholics, and you could be too if you don't watch out. So I believed all of that stuff. Growing up, I was very lucky in that my parents made me work very, very young. So from starting at 5th grade, I was a gas station attendant at a marina. Then when I was old enough to drive, I became a night clerk at a hotel. So I'd go to school until 3. I'd get off school, and then I worked from 3 to 11 as a night clerk. Then by the time I got to college, right, which I failed out of, I started doing like minimum wage stuff. And during all of that time, I was a heavy, heavy drug user and very, very heavy drinker. I took my first drink in 5th grade in Hilton Head, South Carolina, while on vacation with my grandparents. I poured myself a vodka and orange juice, screwdriver, and then I would pour water back in the vodka bottle. So Mr. Vodka, the guy that's here that had vodka and donuts, I've had him since 5th grade. I can understand the appeal there, and never really slowed down on that. So by the time I hit high school, I was, typical, just chugging liquor and taking acid and hallucinogenics and smoking reefer all the time. So by the time I got to college, which I was immediately thrown out of, I was a total just love partying, right? And could care less about having a job. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this is because I want you to know who I thought I was. That my self-image, remember, our self-image identifies or influences our thoughts and our reason why. So my self-image back then was a lazy partier who hated authority, right? And I hated authority because my stepfather always told me I was a dumbass, and because I had nothing but menial, shitty jobs all the time. You know, I mean, like really, really shitty jobs. Probably the best actual job I had was a dog fence installer, where I installed the underground fences that like shock your dog if they try to leave the yard. Sounds kind of inhumane, I guess, in a way it is. But that was my job, so I got to train a lot of dogs. Other than that, minimum wage roofer, house painter, you name it, right? So I'm doing that. I'm self-identifying as a partier, slacker, hate everybody. And then late 20s come around, mid 20s, we'll say. And I decided I wanted to start making some money so I could like be successful, but I didn't have any skills because I got kicked out of college and didn't pay attention in high school, and never actually tried to make anything of myself nor learn anything. So I did what everyone does, which is you go into sales, right? So, hey, you know, sales is the great level playing field. You can get into sales no matter what. There's a shortage of salespeople. Anybody can get a sales job. So I used car sales, door-to-door sales, and I hated it because every day I'd have people like basically confrontational with me, and they're like, "Get the hell out of here!" I was cold calling, you know, I was door-to-door selling. Like no one's like, "Oh, finally the door-to-door salesman's here." Where the hell have you been? Yes, sell us something, please. Tell. What do you? Yes, really. You have credit card machines for sale. What do you know? Like it never happened. You know what I mean? They were always like pissed off. So one day, going door to door selling credit card machines, and I go to this restaurant. And I get thrown out of the restaurant, like angrily thrown out of the restaurant by the owner in front of a bunch of people I had graduated high school with, but hadn't seen in years. So now I'm like really, really embarrassed. So I go to my office and I do a search online for how to sell things without talking to people, because I believe that people equals pain, right? Because it equals rejection. So I was like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And I'm still identifying as a slacker and a partier who just, you know, wants to stick it to the man, right? So I discover in that state, on that day, I discover internet marketing, and I bought the course. I saw a banner ad for Corey Rudel from the Internet Marketing Center, and I bought his training. It's $275. This is $19.99. Didn't have the money, had to split the money with another dude. We got manuals and cassette tapes. I kept the manuals, he kept the cassette tapes. So I start reading them. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Now remember, my identity is partier, slacker, lazy. My driving force, once I understood that you could actually, like the internet was like this thing that you could actually make money on, my goal became, I want to get rich quick with as little work as possible, right? So why would I think that? Why would I want that? Well, because my identity, I was a slacker, I was lazy. And now my driver is I want to get rich quick and I want to stick it to the man, right? So that's where I was coming from. So I started doing what everybody does who has that mentality. I started looking at get rich quick programs, right? Like what else do you do when that's how your brain is thinking? When you don't want to do any work and you don't want to contribute to anybody, you know, and you're just an idiot. So I'm looking at get rich quick programs and I buy one. And it's called Report Broker 2000. 2000, buddy. Hey, a regular report broker is no good, but if it's got 2000 on the end of it, it's amazing. Okay, so I buy this thing. It's pretty cool. It was a CD-ROM. Remember, this is 1999. CD-ROM has got all these reports on there that you can print and resell if you want to, or resell them as downloads, or if you wanted to, you could resell the entire CD and keep 100% of the profits. As a matter of fact, the deal was so good, they said, if you buy this thing, you can even use this very sales letter that you're reading right now to resell this entire package. And I was like, this is brilliant, right? So I bought it. I was like, I instantly have a business. I don't have to have any skills of any kind. That's the easy way out. It's a shortcut. This is perfect because I'm lazy. I'm a slacker. Remember, that's how I believed. And so I buy the thing and I become a spammer because that marketing course I bought had all kinds of excellent, smart, intelligent information. And then on like, last page of chapter 10, it says maybe theoretically, possibly you might make money as a spammer. Well, of course, not wanting to actually learn anything, I was like, that's what I gravitated to. So I become a spammer and I'm spamming out. You can get rich with this Report Broker 2000 thingy. and people buy it. And I'm like, some bitch, this works, right? I was thrilled. I wasn't getting rich by any means, but I no longer had to go door to door and no longer had to have doors shut in my face and was working from home. To me, I was living the dream, right? It was 1999 now, whatever that. I'm 44 now, so whatever the math is. Math isn't an exact science, so I'm pretty sure that's 12 years old. Okay, so anyway, I'm doing that, and I finally start saying, shit, if this is working, what if I buy, by the way, that was called reprint rights. I had reprint rights to Report Broker 2000. It came free when you bought it. And I was able to grant those reprint rights to others. That's known as master reprint rights, right? So I'm like, all I need to do to get super rich is buy master reprint rights to all kinds of stuff, and I can just keep doing this. So I did, and I bought reprint rights to direct mail seminars on tape and all kinds of stuff. And one day, it was going okay. And one day I was like, wait a minute, ebooks are all the rage now. Remember, this is the late 90s. And by now it's probably 2000 or something, right? So I'm like, man, these ebooks are a big deal right now, novel concept. And reprint rights are a big deal. And I've got these reprint rights to all these like $50 ebooks. And I'm like, what if I package these ebooks into one package? I take 5 of them that would normally be $250, and I sell that package for $47, and I do just like I learned with Report Broker 2000. See the wheels turning here? I'm like, what if I also give people master reprint rights to these ebooks, because I was able to do that, and what if I write a new sales letter for this package and let them use that sales letter too? I was like, you know what I'll do? I will call this product the dumbest product name in history, which was Instant Internet Empires. Okay, I'm embarrassed to even tell you I had something called that. So the damn thing worked. All right. So I had a tiny list of actual people that I'd gotten from spamming. So my spam used to be, hey, if you want to make money from home, send an email to this address. That would opt them into a list. I had a tiny little list of actual people that I got from spamming. The prestige, I know, right? You probably used to have a moderately high opinion of me now, but at this stage, probably not so much anymore. Right. So I got this list from spamming. I sent emails to them. Hey, you should buy this Instant Internet Empires thing. They did. I remember one month, shortly after doing that, one month I made $17,000, which still is it's a respectable amount of money. Back then, to me, I was like, I've done it. I've gotten rich quick. I'm not doing any actual work, and I'm kind of sticking it to the man, because my asshole stepfather, he's still having to fix boat engines. He's sweating. He's probably not even making as much money as me. He was my former stepfather then. They divorced when I was 16, I think. And I took my real name back, which was Kern, still is. I was born Kern, the 4th even. So anyway, I'm like living high on the hog, right? Now I'm still thinking I'm a slacker, I'm a partier. I was still partying back then. I'm a slacker, I'm a partier. I want to get rich quick, stick it to the man. Everything's going great. I'm living in that identity, that self-image, all until May of 2003. I find out the hard way, there's this government body that regulates what you say in advertising when you sell things using advertising. And they've got a lot of very, very important regulations that I did not educate myself on. They're called the Federal Trade Commission. And they had seen this Instant Internet Empires thing. And they had determined it was a complete, what's the technical term here? It was a complete steaming pile of horseshit. Now, that's not what they said verbatim, but I was able to surmise that from the 7 pounds of legal documents they sent me when they sued me. So I go from doing really great to now having an asset freeze. Like they froze all my assets, and them saying, dude, you are advertising deceptively, and basically you suck. And you've really, really harmed consumers by selling this thing. Now I was like, dude, who are you guys? What? I'm sorry. I thought it was, they seem to like it. It's $47 thing. They're kind of happy with it. But I had screwed up. It was all my fault. I'd screwed up because I identified lazy, partier, want to get rich quick without sticking it, or I want to get rich quick and stick it to the man. With that identity, I didn't take the time to educate myself on obvious things like, okay, I'm going to play on this internet thing. What are the rules of the game? Right? I just jumped in, didn't care about the rules, did not educate myself on the rules. Turns out I was violating a very, very simple rule. And here's how the rule works. If you go out and you get a result, let's say you go out and you learn how to hit home runs as a baseball player, and you hit 1,000 home runs last year. And if you go on your advertising, and you say, I hit 1,000 home runs last year and you can too, that if you can't prove that the average person who buys your stuff will hit 1,000 home runs, that is called an unsubstantiated advertising claim. So on Instant Internet Empires, I said, I made a lot of money on the internet for me, a lot of money on the internet, and you can too. And those were the deadly words. And you can too. They said, no, no, hey, whoa, hey. So you're telling me that every single person who's bought this has made a couple $100,000 on the internet? I'm like, well, no, I don't know what they've made. And they're like, well, then why are you saying you can too? I'm like, well, that's my opinion. You're like, your opinion doesn't matter, buddy. You're presenting this as a claim here. It must be true. You have to give back all the money that you took when you sold this. I'm like, well, how does that work? They said, well, you give it to us, we give it back to the customers. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So I'm of course immediately settled. That's what you do. If you get sued by the FTC, you're like, okay, so sorry. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. So I did, and they were actually pretty nice to me. I mean, considering, right? So they're not like this evil organization that wants to kill everybody, but it was terrible. And I was very, very humiliated because I had to go to those customers that had bought that thing for me. And I had to say, here's the copy of the lawsuit that the Federal Trade Commission just served on me. You can't sell this product that I sold you and told you you could sell because the sales letter that you got with it says, and you can too. And that's actually technically not true. It's not substantiated. And I apologize, but I wasn't even able to say that. I just had to send them a copy of the lawsuit. So basically now I go from doing pretty good as a get rich quick, don't want to do anything slacker who wants to party and stick it to the man, to being a negative broke. So I gave back all of the money that I could. I didn't have it all, and was $100,000 in debt from legal bills. It cost me $100,000 just to say, okay, I surrender. Freaking lawyers, and now I'm publicly humiliated. I'm labeled as a scammer. And I believed it. I was like, man, I'm the worst person. I can't believe I did this. I didn't mean to. I mean, thank God my customers were nice. Like, I thought my customers who I'd sold that thing to were going to lynch me, but thankfully they were like, oh man, that sucks. We really like it. It's pretty cool. It's $47. We got all these books. The books are pretty good. Whatever. So thankfully, if you were one of those original customers who were nice to me, thank you very much. I wouldn't be here without your support back then, because that was really messed up for me. My fault. I accept full responsibility. But there I was, right? So this stage, I'm a new dad. Okay. I have a 9-month-old baby girl, first time father, and I got negative money. So I'm $100,000 in debt. I have no business. And in my mind, I'm tainted because I had to just go out and publicly say, look, I just got sued by the feds. I am a scammer. Right. And so that really, really, really sucked. So my identity shifted to survivor. Okay. I was like, I got to survive this now. Okay, I have to rebuild. I just want to make enough to feed my family, and I don't even care. You know what I mean? I just want to fix this and sort of take care of my daughter and have everything be cool. So that was now my identity, and that became my reason why. So I still wanted success, but it was just to survive. So I did. I started selling ebooks about nothing to do with marketing, so mainly about pets. So the first one was about how to teach your parrot to talk. It worked okay. Second one was how to attract hummingbirds. It didn't work. Third one was how to train your Labrador. That worked really, really well. And then I was like, wait a minute. So I'm selling that for a little while. And I'm like, there's 600 breeds of dogs, and every dog breed is the same mentally when it comes to basic obedience training. Because I told you the only job I actually had was any remotely worth a damn was I worked with animals, specifically dogs, training them on how to stay in these containment systems and installing the containment system. So I'd actually train hundreds of dogs. So I was like, a Doberman's not mentally any different for basic obedience training than a Shih Tzu. So I was like, man, I got this product that I'd created myself. And I thought, well, what if I just had a separate website for every breed of dog in the world? There were 600 of them. And I came up with the idea to actually do that. And I had a little software application written that would dynamically create a separate sales letter for every breed of dog in the world. It's a template letter. So next thing you know, I went from having a couple of websites about dogs, having 600. And I started advertising all 600. They're all selling the same product, but it was a different sales letter. It would say Doberman or Dotson or whatever. So it was like fill in the blanks, but it all happened automatically. It was really cool. So over a couple of years, I sold $1 million worth of that stuff. 40-something thousand copies of that product, which I sold for $47. Now, sounds like I had this really big comeback, right? But yeah, it was $1 million worth of stuff, but we're in reality, and I was buying advertising. So my net really wasn't that great. It was okay. I was doing exactly what I set out to do, which was to survive, right? So I was a survivor. I was surviving, that was it. Okay. So over time, after doing that, internet marketing started to kind of be a thing. So this is around 2006 or seven, maybe. And it started kind of being like our little community that we have now was in its infancy. And I noticed it. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm tired of just surviving. Now I've got some confidence. Before I didn't have any confidence and I didn't deserve any confidence, right? I had made a little bit of money by spamming to get a list to resell a get rich quick program, which then I created my own get rich quick program. So immediately after getting sued, I was like, duh, good, what the hell was I thinking? That was all totally stupid Mickey Mouse bullshit. I'm not going to try to teach marketing because I don't know what I'm talking about. But then, remember I told you I bought reprint rights to a lot of direct mail seminars and stuff. I listened to them, applied what I learned to build the dog business, sold $1 million worth of stuff through advertising, not through loopholes or any bullshit, and was like, you know what? I have a little more confidence now. I think I can teach marketing because I'm looking at all these other guys. None of them had done anything like that. They were making their money selling marketing, about how to sell marketing, about how to sell. I was like, okay, I actually have something. So I made the conscious decision, and now I got a little bit of a chip on my shoulder as well. Now I had something to prove. I felt like, to a degree, I'd been labeled unjustly as a scammer. It wasn't unjust. I wasn't deliberately scamming people. I accept full responsibility. But at that time, I was like, you know what? I got something to prove. I want to show everybody that I'm not just some idiot, right? I'm going to become the biggest internet marketing guy out there. In fact, I'm going to become an internet marketing celebrity. I literally wrote that down on a notebook just like this. It was on a plane. I was going from California to Atlanta, Georgia, and I mapped out the entire thing about building myself into a personal brand. And I did it. So after that decision, my identity shifted. I said, I'm going to be an internet marketing celebrity. That's who I instantly thought of myself as. And my reason why I wanted success was now significance to prove to everybody else that I knew what I was doing. And I did. I created mass control. I created list control and made a crap load of money in the process. In fact, during that era, I bought 2 Ferraris, 2 Rolls Royces. I flew privately every single place you could fly privately, except international. I owned 1 beach house. I leased 3 more. They were all within 5 miles of each other. So I was riding high on the hog, man. The only problem was I was completely miserable personally. My marriage was in shambles. I had taken alcohol and drugs to like level 50, right? So actually my new self-identity towards the end of that was the Keith Richards of internet marketing. I love Keith Richards, but it's not really the healthiest thing. And because I was so miserable, I was unfulfilled in the business. I ran the business into the ground. And I'd like to say it was like a series of events, but I did it to myself, right? I was bored with it. I became resentful of it. And I took on all these partners, started all these projects, and the gross revenue was there, but because the pie was being cut so many ways, I wasn't making any money. And I started neglecting my list. So in 2010, by the time that happened, my revenue, my personal income, like the kind that actually matters, that had cut by 50% from the year before. By 2011, it had dropped another $250,000. And I hated the business. I was ignoring it. Right? I had essentially given up, and I was very miserable in my marriage. So I got a divorce. So imagine this now: run business into ground, getting divorced. It wasn't my ex-wife's fault or anything like that. I mean, we married young, and whatever. And so I'm like, listen, let's get a divorce. Forget all of this court stuff. You can just have the house. I'm going to give you almost all of the money. Just let me keep like 20% of what we got just so I can rebuild everything. And you know what? I will agree to the support obligation, which I later learned, according to a judge, was the largest support obligation they had ever seen in San Diego County, which a friend of mine said was even larger than Elon Musk's. So I'm not very proud of that. That means I'm a terrible negotiator, but I just wanted to be a stand-up guy. So I was like, you know what? Hey, whatever. Okay, just take it. I can go make more when I need to. And, I spent all these years learning how to do this. You didn't. Here you go. Right? So now I really ain't got no money. I don't have any business, and I'm divorced. And while my reputation started getting a little bit better during that era, I kind of like left the scene and just stopped caring. And so I was now becoming unknown in our little world. But I didn't care because I thought I was free. I'm like, I don't even care about this anymore, man. I'm just going to live by the beach, bro, and surf. And I'm going to get a lot of chicks, man. I didn't actually talk like that, but in my mind, I was thinking like that, go get a bunch of t-shirts with skulls on them. You know what I mean? like wear a lot of beads and stuff, be a pickup artist or something. None of that came true. I'd sworn off marriage, and about 30 seconds later, after making that mental decision, I met my current wife, Natalia. I tell you, buddy, sometimes it takes one little moment for everything to change. So I meet her and immediately fall in love with her. All right. And this is like, if you ever think you've done something embarrassing and stupid, hopefully you feel better about it with what I've already told you about the embarrassing, stupid things I've done. This gets even better. Okay. So I meet this girl. Now, Natalia she's now been on 30 magazine covers for nutrition and fitness and beauty. All right. She was Miss Bikini Universe. I meet her for like 15 seconds. We're at a seminar about fitness. The irony there is not lost on me. So we meet her. I meet her 15 seconds, whatever. We take a picture. I'm like gaga over this woman, right? I'm like, this is it. I want to marry her. I'm totally in love with her. Like our entire conversation was, hello, nice to meet you. Can we get a picture? Sure. Okay. See you later. Like that's the whole thing. I go home, get on Facebook, find her, friend her on Facebook, start emailing with her on Facebook, immediately tell her, number one, I'm in love with you. Number two, I want to marry you and have children with you. Number three, she was living in Florida. I want to go to Florida and get you and bring you to California. Number four, by the way, just in the interest of full transparency, here's all the terrible shit I've ever done in my life. Because like, why let them find out later? You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure I'm 100% positive that she's thinking this dude is insane. And it's kind of a stalker at this point, because remember, we had been in like the same room for 15 seconds, but I lose all rational control. And just telling her all of this stuff through Facebook Messenger, a week later or whatever, through dogged, pig-headed persistence. She gives me her number and we talk on the phone. It takes 60 days for me to get her to go on a date with me. One date, 60 days. Get on a plane, go to meet her, go on the first date. Don't blow the date. It actually goes well. I remember thinking, I'm talking to her and like we're laughing and having a good time. And I'm thinking, I'm literally talking to a supermodel right now. And she is not running away in terror from me. And, I'm like, holy crap. So we actually have a little connection. Fast forward, we start dating. Fast forward, it works. Fast forward a little more. I bring her to California from Florida. And I'm probably this whole time, I'm like, listen, I'm a changed man. I'm in love with you. I want to have children with you. I want to get married to you. And here's promises, right? So I'm laying it on there pretty thick, and I meant it at the time. Okay. So everything's working out. She meets my two daughters from my first marriage. They instantly bond. It's unbelievable. It's like, I cannot believe this is actually working out. And it's been like several months. I haven't screwed this up. She becomes pregnant, much to my delight. That was the greatest news I ever heard. So I'm like, this is great. Everything's going great. We go to Italy. We come home. We're in love. We lease this house on this beautiful property. We're celebrating her birthday. And the next day, she's not feeling that well. I'm like, this is a little weird. By the way, she's late stage pregnancy. So she's like 6 or 7 months pregnant. Like, this is a little bit strange. And then the next day, she doesn't feel weird. So I call her doctor. My wife's Ukrainian. They're very strong-willed people. I'm like, let's go to the doctor. She's like, no. And finally, I have to like sneak off. I call the doctor, Dr. Sue Trong. I say, Dr. Trong, she doesn't feel good. It's weird. She says her kidneys hurt. She's got like a low-grade fever, but she's cold. And Dr. Trong's like, dude, take her to the emergency room. She probably just needs some antibiotics. She's probably got like a little infection. So I take her. We go to the emergency room, and they're like, yeah, it's a little weird. We'll give you like some crap, we'll give you an IV bag of stuff. I'm like, okay, great. So we're in there. She's kind of laughing, feeling a little better, but she's starting to cough, and her heart rate's really accelerated. My son's heart rate, who was unborn at the time, it's accelerated. And it's just a little bit weird. So through the sheer grace of God, a doctor who worked in the intensive care unit was walking past the room on the way to lunch. The nurse grabs him. His name was Dr. Scott Eisman. If you ever get sick in San Diego, just find this guy. His name was Dr. Scott Eisman. She goes, Dr. Eisman, will you take a look here at Natalia? Something just doesn't seem right. And he's like, yeah, doesn't seem right. I'm going to move you to the ICU. And so I'm still not really freaking out at this point, right? I'm like, okay, we'll just move to the ICU. He seems calm about it, right? She's coughing at this stage, She's like, but she's still okay. We're having a conversation. We're laughing a little bit. I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, everything's probably fine. We're just going to move her here so she can be near me. Why not? ICU, pretty good care in the ICU. Intensive care unit is what that stands for. So we go. I'm like, all right. And it finally becomes evening, and they send me home. They say, well, dude, you can't spend the night in the ICU. You don't want to spend the night in the ICU. It's a little intense in there. So I roll out, go home, thinking everything's cool. Wake up the next morning. I call, right? I'm like, hey, honey, I love you. I'll see you in the morning. She's like, all right, bye. You know, all this normal stuff. Wake up the next morning, call, get the nurse. I say, hey, I'm Frank Kern with Natalia. I'm the guy, and the nurse is like, oh, well, she's getting cleaned up. Call back in like 15 minutes. She just woke up, just had some food. Call back in like 15 minutes and you can talk to her. I say, okay, no problem. I get in the shower, get out of the shower. 15 minutes later, I'm texting her because I wanted to bring her some magazines or something because, not a lot to do in the hospital. So texting her, as I'm texting her, the phone rings, unfamiliar number. I figure it must be her from the hospital room, of course, calling me. I'll get it. Answer it. It's the doctor. Brian, I'm sorry to tell you this. We have just had to intubate Natalia, which means put her on a breathing apparatus, life support, and put her in a coma. And so I'm like, what? Dude, I was just talking to the nurse. She was getting cleaned up. She just had breakfast. Like, I just saw her last night. What are you talking about? And he's like, you need to come down here. Naturally, I break the sound barrier, get into the hospital. I go there, and they tell me that she has something called ARDS. Don't Google it. It stands for Advanced Respiratory Distress Syndrome. I made the mistake of Googling it while she was in a coma with it, learned it's got a 40% death rate, and that in the event that it doesn't kill you, you typically spend 6 months to a year in the hospital recovering from it, and you're now followed up by another year of in-home care with an oxygen tank on. So I'm like, holy crap, dude. I mean, it's like, boom. And during that moment, it gets even better. Someone from the hospital administration office comes in. Now, like, I'm flipping out right inside. I'm not visibly freaking out because I'm trying to hold it together. She's like dead looking. I don't know if you've ever seen an actual person in a coma in real life, but they're very clammy. And they're pretty much dead, except for there's a machine keeping them alive. So her eyes are taped shut. She's pregnant, like full on pregnant. My son's in there and she's looking like she could die. And I'm foolishly on the iPhone, never take your phone to the damn hospital, Google ARDS. And now I'm just like, administrator comes in. Mr. Cronin, can we talk to you for a minute? Like, yeah, sure. Okay, great. Figured maybe they're going to tell me how to deal with this or whatever. They say, well, you remember when you were making all those big mouth promises to her about how you're going to take care of her and how you're a changed man and how you're no longer a fuck up and you're going to have a great life together. You're going to be a great provider. That was all well and good. But during that, you did not get her health insurance paperwork transferred over properly. In fact, you're supposed to check this one simple box and sign this one piece of paper we sent y'all 9,000 times when you move from state to state, but you didn't do it. Therefore, she doesn't have health insurance coverage. Therefore, your bill to date is $100,000 and counting. So I'm like, okay. They're like, just figure out how you're going to handle it. Come back tomorrow. They're much nicer about it, obviously, but that's what happened. So I go home, right? Because now it's night again. You can't stay there. And dude, I'm freaking out, So I'd gone from a kid wanting to be successful and then being told I was stupid and acting stupid to a young adult having minimum wage jobs, always having the dream of success to, finally being a get rich quick partying idiot, getting a little bit of like undeserved success and then getting deservedly sued, then surviving. And it's like, okay. And then I become an internet marketing celebrity, made a lot of money, didn't have any of the other stuff though. Ran that into the ground. Finally now am feeling like, okay, this is great. My family's good. I'm with a woman that I really, really love and I want to do good for. And I have 100% failed her, right? So I'd wanted to be successful. I'd want to be a stand-up guy, a provider. I'd wanted to be all of these kind of things. And I'm out there, created this persona as an internet marketing celebrity, whatever, ran the business into the ground. Now I can't even pay for my potentially dying pregnant wife's hospital bill, right? So I'm alone. I'm in this room. I'm having this realization like, dude, you are really not following through with what you want to do, okay? Your wife is potentially dying. Your son is in there. It'll be a miracle if he makes it. You can't even pay the damn hospital bills, right? Because I'd given all my money away and I'd run the business into the ground. So I didn't have like $100,000. I just go to the bank and get $100,000 out. I had a little bit in my IRAs I could have liquidated, but you know what I mean? It's like, crap, what am I going to do? So I go through the understandable, complete mental breakdown that night, just lost my shit, right? Because it hit me. It's like, dude, you have squandered all this time. And I started asking this question, right? Which is, okay, you want to be up here, you're here, and you're here because it's your fault. Like, and I'm thinking, I've got years of experience now. This is 2011 or 12, right? It was late 2011. I've been doing it since 1999. I know how to create financial prosperity. I know exactly what to do. Why haven't I done it? Why have I self-sabotaged it every single time, right? And so I kept asking that question. You ever feel that? Like, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing in some area of your life, maybe it's business or whatever, but you just can't seem to get it right. So that's the question going through my head. And during that time, I'm going to bring a slide up here for you. And now this is the end of the story, thankfully. Okay. So during that time, I kind of got the answer, right? And the answer sort of, I know it's dramatic and everything, so I want to de-dramatize it, if that's a word, so it won't sound too theatrical, but I literally figure it out that night, okay? So I get the answer and everything becomes clear to me. And from that point forward, here's what happened. All right. And I'm going to tell you what the answer was. I'm going to tell you how I use the answer to really literally rebuild my life and essentially become a totally different person. So I get the answer because, man, it's like come to Jesus time. You know what I'm saying? This isn't like, oh man, things are a little tough. I think I can do it. It's like your wife is freaking dying. You can't take care of her. You've had all these opportunities. You've squandered them. Pull your shit together. So get the answer, wake up, 100% clarity. I know exactly what to do. Within 48 hours, all right, I get up, I go to her bedside. I'm sitting beside her while she's in a coma, laptop. During that time, she's here, I'm here, typing, create an entire new project, map it out, create the webinar to sell the new project. Within 7 days of her being out of the hospital, I had held the webinar, I'd done the business promotion, I had rebuilt that entirely new project and had made that project alone, made 75% of the entire previous year's income. Boom. Just like that. All right. Fast forward to today. Okay. So fast forward to today. Number one, most importantly, family life is very good. Now, this is interesting because family life is good. Business life is also good. So I no longer had to sacrifice that. Previous life, I used my work as an excuse to hide from my family, actually. But so now I don't. Like, we're those obnoxious people, right? Like, we're that couple that everyone hates because we so openly love each other and it's not faking. I discovered what I'm going to share with you in 2011, late 2011. 2012, I had to rebuild, right? I had to undo a lot of damage that I'd done in the marketplace. 2013, I continued to rebuild. 2014, I had the highest net personal income that I'd ever had in my life, higher than all the mega launches and all that stuff from the old days. 2015 eclipsed 2014. 2016, last year, eclipsed 2015. In fact, I just learned this. The taxes due from the revenue of 2016 is more than 2 times what the total revenue of 2011 was, right? So it totally changed everything, right? No more stress. Business runs seamlessly. I get a lot of free time, actually, which is amazing, even though I continue to work more than I've ever worked. So the reason I'm telling you this is several reasons. Okay. Number one, we have a tendency to compare ourselves to others, to somewhat deify people who are public figures and think they have all of these answers. We don't. Okay. I like all the dumb stuff you've done. I told you a fraction of the dumb stuff I've done. It was pretty freaking stupid. All the crap that you experience, we all experience it. And it's okay. We try to pretend like we don't have these problems. That's stupid. Everyone's got them. So that's reason number one. Reason number two is I did that to illustrate the power of identity. So when I started thinking, when I was in that room, actually I was in my house prior to going back to the hospital, when I'm like totally flipping out, realizing I completely failed as a human being and a man, right? And my wife's dying. I can't even pay the freaking hospital bill. I realized that the root of all of this was a direct result of my focus. So here's the deal, okay? I'm going to switch now to full. I'm going to show you the slides. Are you ready? Now I got the slides. Thank you for bearing with that story. Okay, so let me show you these slides here, and then I'll show you how I fixed it. Okay, y'all ready? We cool? I think so. Karen was on that webinar. Okay, let's see here. Thank you, John, by the way. Okay, you don't want to see that screen. You want to see this screen. All right. So now you should see my screen. So here's the thing, right? Essentially that morning or that evening, which went into late morning or early morning for me, my brain was reborn. Once it was reborn, I had my shit together and literally life was never the same. Here's what I discovered through a tremendous amount of work that night. All right. Number one, there is a specific pathway to change, period. Right. And a lot of this you're going to know. Like, for example, we start with, what do you want? Right. So like, here's something. And I know that we just went away from full screen, but here's what I want you to do. Just, if you do nothing other, what the hell was my thing? If you do nothing other than this, write down what you want. Here, listen to this. You hear this? That's me banging on this piece of paper right here. I didn't just like create this picture for this webinar. I have what I want by my side all the time while I'm working. If we just focus on if you simply just focus on what you want instead of what's not working or what's freaking you out, you will have a much better life and your productivity will increase just because your mind can't weird out as much. Now, this is like 1/10 of the puzzle, right? But this is easy to figure out what you want. Yeah, I mean, there's no problem there. Okay, I mean, here's mine. This changes all the time, right? But there you go. Okay, so the next question that's not as easy is, why do you want it, right? And the answer to this is usually bullshit. So we know that we're supposed to have this powerful reason why, right? But I believe the reasons that we tell ourselves are two things. They're either going to be reactive, right? Just like mine were. Like, I originally wanted to be successful so I can prove to my asshole stepfather that I was better than him, right? I was reacting to past negative experience. Right? I wanted to get success later. I wanted to become an internet marketing celebrity so I could show everybody that I wasn't an idiot, that, I had demonstrated that I was with my previous behavior. So we often have that. As a matter of fact, if you don't consciously think about this, you're probably in a state of reaction right now. The other thing that we'll do is we'll bullshit ourselves and we'll just say what we think we're supposed to say. Well, I want to do it for XYZ. And it's like, whatever everyone else says, this is going to be my family, right? Hey, if it is your family, that's great. But a lot of times we're just bullshitting ourselves, right? So here's the thing, okay? This is kind of the big thing. So let me go back to that. I told you we're going to do these slides out of order. Hey, look, there's a random picture. This is from me during my degenerate years, by the way, this for contrast there. All right, let me show you this diagram again. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's the thing. This is important, real big deal. We bullshit ourselves here. We're gonna solve this today. But here's the granddaddy of them all. When you figure out what you want, then you figure out why you want it. The next question, I swear to God, this is the one that changed everything for me, was, who must you be in order for this stuff to become inevitable? Meaning, if you become this person, this stuff should happen by default, right? So it's like, if I want to get in great shape, who must I become? Who do I need to be in order for it to become a no-brainer, like automatically that I would be in great shape, right? So if you answer like Dwayne Johnson or something, obviously that's the case. Like, if you adopt all of the behaviors of Dwayne Johnson, you can't help but be in incredible physical condition because that's just the way he rolls. So what dawned on me was that our identity and self-image is really the driver of everything, okay? If we can fix this, all this other stuff gets fixed. So this is very easy to say, okay, yeah, that makes sense, but it ain't so easy to actually figure out. But here's something that you can definitely take home to the bank. All right. So here's the deal. This is something I realized. I want to ask you something. And if you don't want to answer this like publicly, then don't, because I think you guys can see each other's comments. I can't see yours now that this is full screen, but I will be able to in a minute. But just either internally or in chat, tell me if this makes sense to you. Have you ever kind of like either been driving in the car or by yourself or whatever and thought to yourself, is this it? Right? Like, I've grown now. I'm in my career or whatever. And is this it? Like, okay, this is cool and all, but this isn't really what I had in mind. You ever feel like that? I had a buddy of mine. It was intense. He owned a restaurant And he said, I never thought my life would be just about making sandwiches. I was like, damn, man, there's nothing wrong with that. But he wanted more. Do you ever find yourself wanting more? Here's what I believe. Okay. I can't prove this to you. So I have no way to, empirically prove it, but this is simply my belief. You can take it for what it's worth. I believe we have two identities. All right. We have one identity, which is who we're supposed to be. So remember when I was asking you, hey, do you ever feel like, is this it? And then immediately you have this vision of what it would and should look like what the real goal is. I believe that's who you're supposed to be. Some would call it your potential, right? I believe that potential is who we're meant to be. I believe that is our true identity, right? So that's identity number one. Identity number two is who we are being now. Notice I'm not saying who we are now. I'm saying who we are being now. I call this our reactive identity. I think most of the time, what we do is react to external stimuli, which never gives us the opportunity to actually live in this area or to even consider what this area is on a conscious level. But here's something I really believe to be true, and I'm curious to know if you agree as well. I think that the farther these two are apart, so if who you're being now is way different than who you're meant to be, I think you'll have a tremendous amount of suffering. I think the amount of suffering we have, the amount of overwhelm, the amount of fear, the amount of frustration, the farther we are from who we're supposed to be, the greater we will suffer. And that was made crystal clear to me that night when Natalia was dying and my son was dying and I could not help. I had not created the resources to pay for that care. Long story short, I paid for it, by the way, but I had to create it. I didn't have it on hand at the time. I made it happen once I had all of this stuff. So here's the thing, okay? Identity, self-identity is, in my opinion, the true driver. I think it regulates everything you do. I think if your self-identity is in alignment with what you want to accomplish, you'll accomplish it with minimal friction. If it isn't, you'll probably never accomplish it. If we think of ourselves as athletes and we want to win a triathlon or complete one, we're probably going to complete that with minimal friction. Where if we think of ourselves as big fat losers who just really want to win a triathlon or complete a triathlon, we'll probably never accomplish it, right? We'll come up with all kinds of excuses not to do the training every day and why to give up early because, hey, we're big fat losers and that's what we do. If you've bought every course out there and they're all still sitting on a shelf, it ain't the courses, man. It's you. And it's not like something like you're not wrong. I believe you've got an identity problem. I think you're either consciously or subconsciously, you don't see yourself as the person who does it or deserves to do it. If you're fearful and paralyzed by overwhelm, same thing. That's why I sabotaged everything. I didn't believe that I could do it, and I didn't believe that I deserved to do it. And that's why I was where I was the night that I ended up alone in a rented house with no one there. My wife's in a coma. My son might die. And I'm wondering, how am I going to tell her family? What am I going to tell my daughters? Where am I going to bury her? How am I going to pay for the funeral? How am I going to pay these hospital bills? All that. So if you have the stuff, if you're not taking the action, if you're fearful, it's probably self-identity. Let's fix it right now. Okay. So we got to understand the true thing. So this is easy to conceptually understand, isn't it? Like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We have this potential. We all know that we're meant for greater things. Easy to conceptually, easier to grasp, right? So the hard part is, well, how do you figure out what it is, right? It's easier to say, yeah, okay, that makes sense, but it's a lot harder to actually figure out who it is. So I have reverse engineered it because that's how my brain works. Okay, so here we go. Oh, crap, let me get through here. Bing, 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 bing. Thank you all for your kind words in the comments. By the way, I just saw some of them. So here we go. First thing we got to do is you have to uncover the lies, right? And so the first thing I want you to do is just do it right now. While you don't have to write it down, but just think about it. Like, what bullshit do you tell yourself about yourself all the time? And this could be something that was told to you, right? Like my stepfather told me my former I have a new stepfather. I've had him for 25 years. He's great. His name's George. So just, no disrespect to you, George. You've been wonderful. Thank you, sir. But my original stepfather told me I was small, weak, and lazy. Every freaking day. I believed it. Even as a grown man, when I'm a fairly large guy. I'm 6'2", 255 pounds. I wouldn't think I was a big dude until I saw myself in pictures next to other like regular sized people, right? Because I believed I was small. Okay. So whether it's you're telling yourself or whatever, just understand what they are. Just identify. I call them the lies. Okay. And now we got two choices. We can get real mad and blame everybody and get pissed off about them, or we can just set them aside for a minute. Let's take choice number 2. Let's just take those beliefs and just put them over there, like to the left or something. Like just put them, in a box and just label them beliefs. And that's all we're going to do. Okay. So now that we've identified the bad stuff, we can at least stop listening to it, even if just for a minute, and we can get to work. So the next thing we want to do is we want to find that most powerful why, because our reason why actually helps us determine what the true identity really is through reverse engineering. I know it sounds weird. Let me show you how it works. Okay. So here's the thing. I believe it's Maslow is the name of the dude who came up with this. But, anyone who's studied self-help and personal development, this will look familiar to you. This is the hierarchy of human needs. Okay. So we start out here and we just want to eat, and make a sex party or something and not die. So that's where these first 2 levels are. Right. And then we sort of graduate as humans to this level where we want to have a family and we want to have friends. Right. And then once that need is covered, we kind of start thinking about this. Well, we want to get a little significance. I mean, ultimately, that's what this really means. It says self-esteem, confidence, respect of others. It's significance, right? We want to be somebody. And then finally, we transcend that. And this is the highest level where our focus is on creating, right? Solving problems. And we're not hanging on to past grudges and stuff. We're just moving forward and we have like a mission. And this is kind of like universally accepted as these are the hierarchy of human needs. So this has been around forever. And then psychologists discovered a 7th, I guess we'll call it like a 7th level here. I don't know, or whatever it is, right? Another level here. And that is transcendence is what they call it. I didn't come up with this phrase, but transcendence means you've done this and now you want to help others get here, right? So does that, I mean, if that makes sense to you, I don't expect you to say, okay, completely buy all of these human needs, but do you at least believe that our highest driving force as humans, universally, the most noble and the greatest thing that always drives the highest level of accomplishment and allows people to endure the most intense suffering is to help others, right? Like think of Gandhi. Okay, but he was in a coma, or not a coma, like starvation and all of this kind of stuff. He didn't do it because he wanted significance, right? He did it so he could help others. Mother Teresa, right? Like these people have endured in unbelievable odds, right? An incredible hardship, and they still got the job done, and they did so with great peace of mind, and they were driven by this. Does that make sense? Okay, I mean, pretty simple concept to understand, right? Okay, so if we can say, okay, well, if this desire and this drive to serve a greater purpose is the most powerful reason why, meaning that's the best fuel we can put into the motor. Okay, if that's the case, then as entrepreneurs, what would happen if we just jumped ahead and made that our focus, right? Would it be possible that all of our other needs are met by default? Now think about this, okay? Think about the belief that I'm going to assume we all universally agreed was true. And that is, as entrepreneurs, our rewards are directly proportional to the amount of value we provide to others, meaning our marketplace, right? So just when you thought I was going to go altruistic on you, this is actually quite a capitalist mentality, if you think about it. If as entrepreneurs, we're going to get the greatest reward for giving the greatest amount of value, doesn't it make sense that if we focus on how we can serve others here, right? We've put focus here as entrepreneurs on how we can help our marketplace transcend through whatever it is that we do, then doesn't it make sense that if we're able to do that, we'll get the greatest reward? Well, the answer is yes. Okay, of course. So if we accept that to be true, now we can reverse engineer it, right? So just think about this. Number one, we're supposed to contribute to the world or not? Because I know what I just told you was like kind of weird, right? So, oh, my mouse has died. That's weird. Totally lost my mouse. There we go. Okay. So we're supposed to contribute to the world, not take away from it. Totally makes sense, right? We're entrepreneurs. Our value, the value we create dictates the rewards we get. If we destroy value, we have no rewards. Duh. So that makes sense. Well, can't we also agree that our true identity is based on how we're supposed to contribute, right? Think about it this way. Start with this question. Let's reverse engineer, okay? Let's imagine if every other need was met, okay? Let's say you're already rich. You're already famous. Everybody loves you, right? You're safe, your family, like, you know what I mean? Like all the basic stuff is met. We're solving problems. Everything's cool. We're fully self-actualized people. We got $1 billion, super fame, like all the stuff, right? So now all we have to do is focus on helping others. And let's put our entrepreneurial hats on here and say we're going to help our marketplace, right? I mean, it'd be great and noble to say let's help all of mankind, but let's talk specifically about our marketplace. So if everything else was taken care of, what would you do to give the greatest contribution possible to your marketplace, to help them as best as you humanly could? And this answer, by the way, will evolve, and that's okay. But think about it. I'll give you mine just kind of to spur your mind, right? So for me, I'm like, okay, well, first thing I would do is I would expand my company, right? So it used to be just me. I would work by myself. So I would expand my enterprise. So I could provide more jobs. I'd reach more people as a result because it wouldn't be just me now. I'd share what I've learned with as many people as possible. And I would take every bit of entrepreneurial insight ever recorded, either by me or, Claude Hopkins or whoever, you know what I mean? Like all of the greats of advertising and marketing. And I would take all of that stuff and I would catalog it and I would organize it. And as a matter of fact, I would go through it and I'd make it so you could freaking understand it, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but if you've studied any of the old marketing stuff, it's pretty hard to understand a lot of times the way they talk. So I'd make it really simple. I would make it the Apple computer of marketing thought. You know how Apple's like you can just give an iPad to a 10-year-old or even you can give it to my 2-year-old and they can figure out how to use it. I would make marketing like that so that any entrepreneur could figure it out instantly. Like it would not even be a problem. And I would create systems and institutions that would share this. So it wouldn't depend on me at all. It'd be greater than me. Personally, I would have nothing to do with it. And the vision is like there would be these institutions where any entrepreneur from any business in the world would be able to understand and implement marketing systems, and they would no longer be confused by it or overwhelmed. It would be systemized. And in doing so, that would allow those entrepreneurs to contribute the most value possible to their marketplaces, which collectively would contribute more value to the world. See, so that's what gets me going. And whatever gets you going is totally cool. You don't have to do my answers. I'm just giving you an example, right? But here's the big question. Define the true identity. When you have that answer, here's the question to ask. Who do you need to be in order to do that, right? Well, here's the thing. The answer to that question is your true identity. If we accept that the greatest, most powerful driver is to be of benefit to others, even as entrepreneurs, it's so easy to accept that, right? I mean, clearly, more value we create, the more income and reward we get. So if we say our biggest driver is to create the most value possible, and then we map out what is the greatest thing I could contribute to my marketplace, well, then boom, there's your question. Who do you have to be in order for that to become inevitable? So of course it happens, right? So I sat down and I figured that out. I didn't do it that one night, by the way. It took a while, but I figured it out. And the answer, well, here's what you do, by the way. Okay, so you want to figure it out. You want to figure that identity out, and you want to give that identity a name. And I want you to write that name down. Okay, you don't have to write it in the chat if you don't want to. I mean, if you're proud of it, then hell yeah, write it down. But put that on paper. So here's what I did. I created the identity of Atlas, right? And I said, you know what? I don't need to be a marketing celebrity. I don't even need to make any of this stuff about me personally at all. I need to be like the Atlas, and I want to be like the Atlas. I want to be a provider, right? I want to be a protector of my family and community. I want to create for the benefit of others. Personally, I want to be a positive example for the people who have given me the gift of their attention. I want to be helpful. I want to carry that weight because someone's got to, and I'm proud to have it be me. And the minute I made that shift and really started thinking like, okay, this is the perspective from which I will now operate, right? That doesn't mean, hey, I think I'm hot shit. It means this is what I strive for. This is the identity that I want, and this is what I'm going to focus on. Okay. And when I created that and started operating from that, now I never procrastinate because it's not in alignment with my identity, right? I mean, if your identity is strong enough, you will never do stuff outside of your identity. Here's proof, right? Like I think it's fairly safe to say that you all self-identify as morally just and upright, fundamentally good people. Therefore, there's no possible way you would just go forth and murder children. Okay, duh. Well, it doesn't work just with dramatic stuff like that. It's about everything. So I don't have procrastination problems because I self-identify now as Atlas, right? Hey, I will gladly take the yoke. It is my job to lead by example. It is my job to provide for my family. It is my job to take the knowledge that I have learned and make it accessible to as many people as possible. Is the institution I want to create created? No, not yet, but it will be, right? Because I'm becoming the person I must be in order for that to become inevitable. Of course, I get overwhelmed, right? But I don't stay overwhelmed. See, overwhelmed, remember I said these results are typical. Of course, you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to get confused, but you don't have to stay overwhelmed. So when I get overwhelmed, confused, freaked out, it passes quickly because my mind focuses on solutions. I don't focus on the problems. I focus on how to solve the problems because I've shifted mentally. I don't have doubt or fear because I know I can get the job done. So if there's a bad month or whatever, I'll be like, oh shit, there's a bad month. I need to fix it. And then boom. Okay, of course I can fix it, right? Of course I can. No problem. Okay. So it would be wonderful if I were to say like, okay, well, now that you know this, everything's going to be rosy, but that's not actually the case, right? So this is step number one. Figure out that true identity and strive for it. Now, just doing this will give you dramatically different results, okay? But the next thing we have to do is we have to cultivate that, all right? So let me show you something. So once you, oh man, my mouse done blowed up. Y'all, I have done blowed up my mouse. Hang on, let's see if I can, come on now, buddy. Now I'm stuck, guys. Of all the times to break the damn mouse, I don't want to have to go over there and get another battery or something. Do I have any more batteries? So weird, guys. Of all the times to have that happen. Well, hell, hang on. Let's see here. Let me fix this. Bear with me. Let me go get me some batteries real quick. Let's see if I just need to slap these around a little bit. Oh, look at that. Ha! I used the South Georgia slap the batteries technique. Did it work? Come on, South Georgia. Come on, South Georgia. Come on, baby. The light's blinking. Oh, sweet. Dude, I swear I just took the cap off the batteries and whacked them. Okay, so once we figure this out, all right, we're not done. So next thing we got to do is we have to cultivate that identity. And your identity is always in jeopardy. Okay, so here's what like creates it. First of all, we consciously think about it, but I can't just say, okay, I'm going to be Atlas, and then like everything's different. Because every day we have things that are going to change the identity. So here are the three big controllers of identity. Number one is the input. What's coming into your mind? Number two, what do you surround yourself with and who do you associate with? Who are you around, right? Like, look, I used to be a rock and roll musician. I was on the road for 4 years. It wouldn't matter if I identified as Atlas back then. I'm not going to stay in the Atlas identity because I'm surrounded by people who are chain smoking reefer, just chugging liquor and doing all sorts of rock and roll shit. Hey, it was a lot of fun, but it's not conducive to becoming that identity, right? And finally, conscious reinforcement. So all of these affect it. Let's talk about this big whopper here. Okay, so let me move on over for you. And let's talk about this power of input for you. So here's the thing. Every minute of every day, every minute, I want you to hear this, every minute of every single day for the rest of your life, unless you become a monk and live in the woods by yourself, here's what's going to happen to you. Other people are going to try to change you, and they're trying to get you to do what they want. This doesn't mean everyone's out to get you. It doesn't mean that they are evil. It just means that you're getting hammered every single day. Think about it. Ads, emails, friends, text, social media, the phone. Someone coming over. They're either saying, I have an agenda, conform to this agenda. It could even be something as simple as, hey, let's go to lunch. Hey, they're coming to you to get you to stop what you're doing and go to lunch. Now, it might be an enjoyable process, but still, that's benign, but there's still people trying to get you to do what you want. But then there's other stuff like ads that say, hey, you need to change who you are. I mean, think about the Nike campaign. Be like Mike. Okay? Well, I thought I was okay the way I was. Nope. Be like Mike, Frank. Frank's not good enough, right? You got to be like Mike. Okay? I mean, Nike's wrong. I'm not an anti-advertising, but dude, it's true. We're constantly getting bombarded with people trying to change us. Okay? And on top of that, this is also true. This is a little more manageable, right? People are always telling you what's wrong. Think about the news. Some dickhead opened fire at an airport the other day. I mean, here, let me say like here, I will save you from ever having to watch the news again. Okay. This is the news for the rest of eternity. Okay. Breaking news. A lot of bad shit has happened and is going to continue to happen. Story at 11. Okay. That is always the news, right? So you never have to watch the news again. I just gave you the news. Okay. Social media. Get on your Facebooks, open up the feed. You got like 3 things. You got inspirational posts for people who are basically wanting to change your agenda. So you'll give them significance. Okay. Or you have people bitching about stuff. I hate Trump. I hate Hillary. I hate people who hate Hillary and Trump, but like Bernie or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like blah, blah, blah. Everyone's pissed off. Here's what's wrong. Okay. Here's what's going on. Here's the effect of all of that. All right. That's training you to focus on stuff that is not your true identity. Number one, you got to focus. You don't have to. This is what it's training you to do. It's training you to focus on what other people want you to do and becoming what other people want you to be. How many women have body issues because they look at pictures that don't look like them, but they think they have to look like that in order to be loved? All right. Think about that. Okay. Why is that happening? Because their mind isn't strong enough to realize, oh, okay, I don't have to actually believe this, right? Other thing that's happening is you're being trained to focus on what's wrong. Okay. Like, when was the last time you ever saw something on the news or whatever where they just talk about how cool everything is? Right. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So what this does subconsciously is it says you're not good enough and you're not safe. And that affects your identity. So here's how to stop it. Okay. This is a big one for me. And man, I got to tell you, it is easier said than done. But if you will adhere to this, your life will change in a day. It will change. Like tomorrow, you'll be a better person. Not a better, you'll feel better, right? You're fine as you are. I don't mean to say that, but you will be more productive. You'll be happier. I think that's my goal for you. So it's 2 steps: create the hierarchy of focus and deploy the anti-weirdness process. Let me show you what they are. Here's the hierarchy of focus model. So step number 1, you got to identify the categories of people who are actually important in your life, right? So in the comments earlier, I think some of y'all are arguing with each other. Like maybe someone disagreed with something, and then some of you guys are like, no, you're stupid or whatever. Dude, thank you, A, for coming to my defense if in fact I saw that properly. But understand something. That person you're arguing with right now, you don't even know them. And they're probably not important to your life, so you just wasted time talking about them, right? Let me show you how to never do that again. What we want to do now is rank those categories in order of importance. And the 3rd step is ignore everything outside of those categories. So if you guys are like fussing at each other and getting distracted from the message, pay attention right now, okay? Because this will help you. Here's the deal. We've all got a hierarchy of focus. So here's mine. Now, these are people that actually matter, okay? This is it for me. This is like the core, okay? And by the way, what's on mine doesn't have to match up with what's on yours. Who cares what's on mine? I'm just giving you this as an example. What's on mine is irrelevant to you. What is on yours is perfect, okay? But here's mine. So number 1, God. I think there's a pretty good handbook, tells you how to be happy and productive. It was given to us by this fella or lady or entity or whatever you want to call it, called God. Makes a lot of sense to me. Try to live by it. Don't kill people. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Don't kill, but don't steal each other's stuff. Okay, pretty simple. Right? So I'm big into that one. Family is the next one. Really important, right? Most of the family, not all, by the way. You get to choose, okay? Friends and advisors. This is a big one. Here's how we define friends, okay? It's easy to get this mistaken. I've done it. Some people say, well, definition of a true friend is someone who would help you in your time of need. That's not true. The definition of a true friend is someone you would help in their time of need. Okay, so here's how to figure that out. I've got like 4, right? So here's how to figure that out. Imagine you're like, this is morbid, but I'm trying to think of the most socially uncomfortable thing. Imagine you're at like your boss's, grandmother's funeral, all right? Everyone's real sad. Your boss is up there delivering the eulogy. Boss is crying. Everyone's crying. It's all like serious. You're in the very front row. The only way out of the church is you got to walk through the entire congregation to get out of the funeral. Okay. It's like in the movies. All right. So you're in the front row. Everyone's bawling. Your boss is giving this emotional eulogy about how his grandmother was amazing. And your phone's on vibrate because you have a little bit of manners here. And it goes off and it's someone, and that person says, I need you urgently to help me. Okay. And in order to help them, you've got to get up in the middle of the boss's eulogy while everyone else is sitting, and you got to make your way through the aisle. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, so sorry. Yeah, just a little thing. Gotta go. And now your boss is trying to deliver the eulogy. You're the only person standing wrong through the entire church to get out the door. Okay. Who would you do all of that for? That's who your friends are. It's not about what they would do for you. It's about what you would do for them. Okay. So they matter. And then we have advisors. Advisors are people for me that I might not personally be friends with, but their input is really, really important to me, right? Like Rick Warren, he's a pastor. Love his stuff. Try to listen to his podcast, right? I don't know Rick Warren personally, but it still matters. He gets in there, right? He's in the hierarchy of focus. Dan Kennedy, same way. David Ogilvy is dead. I don't know him personally, but he's an advisor. I contribute, like his stuff matters. What comes in, I let him into my brain. Then, of course, we have like for business, customers, right? That's kind of simple. Like obviously, if they're your customers, you want to allow your mind to focus on them. And then there are prospects. Now, prospects mean people who were actually should be customers, not everybody in the marketplace. Okay. So for example, people on the Get Rich Quick forums that are wondering if this opportunity versus this one is a scam. And then they say, well, you know, there's this guy, Frank Kern, and some of them say, we hate Frank Kern. I don't really care because I don't want them as customers. They're not really prospects. They're not bad people. They're just Get Rich Quick people. And I don't do that. Right. So that's my hierarchy of focus. All of these people are worthy of my focus. Okay. Here's who's not. Basically everybody else. Right. People on Facebook right now, I can guarantee you there's probably someone talking bad about you or someone you like on Facebook right now, right? Guarantee you they're either saying something bad about you or they're saying something bad about someone you like. If they're not in here, who gives a shit? Same with Twitter, right? People who aren't your family, who gives a damn what they think, what they say, right? People who aren't your friends, who cares? People who aren't your target market, people who aren't your customers, they don't get to matter. So if you cut out all of this input and only let this in, you have significantly less coming into your brain, right? But it's just not still that easy. We actually, now that you have it, you have to manage it, okay? So our mission here is to only let these people in. These people don't come in, right? Now you can voluntarily pay attention to them, but you're taken away from what you're trying to do. So here's the anti-weirdness process, which you're right. This is a beautiful name. Thank you very much. It's very professional sounding. Okay, here's the process. We're going to have weirdness. Okay, remember, these results are typical. We will experience overwhelm. We will experience fear. Okay, it's normal. So here's what we do. We say, okay, I'm having weirdness right now. Where's it coming from? And you say, okay, is that in my, or who is it specifically? The reason we ask, by the way, who or what specifically, is when something happens, our brain wants to say everything or everybody. You ever notice that? Like you make a Facebook post and one dude says something bad about it or whatever, and now you're like, everybody on Facebook hates me. Like, well, no, it's actually that one dude. So you identify whatever it is, and then we say, okay, is that in my hierarchy of focus? Guess what? Prepare to be like, have a 90% reduction of weirdness immediately, because most of it's not. Therefore, you can ignore it and even banish that source of input from your life if you want. Right? I don't have Facebook on my telephone. I don't post on Facebook, right? I get in and look at my private members group and that's it, right? And those are customers, they matter, okay? So doesn't mean that sometimes it's not going to get through. Sometimes weirdness comes from a source that it is in your hierarchy of focus. So now what do you do? Well, first thing we say, okay, well, what specifically is the problem, right? What's going on? So this input is in my hierarchy of focus. Let's say it's my mom, right? She's real mad. She's freaking out. She's telling me that everything is going to shit because Donald Trump is the president. Okay, well, I could be like, damn, everything's going to shit. I could be all weirded out about it. Or I could say, okay, well, this is her weirdness. She's real mad that Donald Trump is president. Can I fix that? Well, no, I can't unpresident Donald Trump, right? So if you can't fix it, let it go. Say, okay, that's weirdness, man, and move right along, because ain't nothing you can do about it. If you can fix it, by the way, this is now, we're in like the 1% range of weirdness, by the way. If you can fix it, then you begin repair. Let me tell you how to begin repair. All right, first thing we want to do, identify the specific problem and the source, okay? Then write down the 3 most impactful things you can do to fix the problem. And step 3, do at least one of them immediately. There you go. Here's why this is so powerful, okay? The anti-weirdness process, love that name. It allows you to do one of the only 3 options you got. Well, you have 4. You can ignore, let go, or repair, or worry. Now, what is worry and obsessing going to give you? Nothing, right? So here are your 3 intelligent options. You can ignore, let go, or repair. It gives you, tells you what to do right there, okay? Once you do any of these, your mind quits focusing on it. And here's why this is important. Your mind is like a computer. And every area of focus, whether it's conscious or not, is like a program running in the background, using up your mental power, right? On computers, they call that RAM memory. So, in your laptop, if you have like 10 million Apple, you got iTunes, and you're watching a movie, and you're running the internet, and you got chat, and you got, Excel open and pages and all this crap, your computer's going to run terribly. It'll crash. Your mind is the same way. So when you take the action to either ignore, let go, or repair, every time you do it, it's like shutting down one of those programs. That frees up your RAM memory. Think about it. When you have all those things going on in your mind, of course you're going to feel overwhelmed, right? Because your mind is freaking overwhelmed. You might not even realize it. You got all these little things, either consciously or subconsciously, running that you're freaked out about. So one little thing that you think is giving you overwhelm is probably, and by probably, I mean definitely, the result of all of those little things that you're not even conscious of because you haven't done the process on them. But once you shut it all down, real hard to get overwhelmed because you have so much power, right? Like if you have a powerful computer like your mind is, and you're running one program on it, that program is going to run like a champ. If you run 100, they're all going to run like shit, right? But here's the deal. Don't you think it's true that stress, worry, and overwhelm and like what ifs, that's 90% of our conscious thought? We think about what could go wrong, what we're worried about, and all the stuff that doesn't matter. Well, if we kill that, we've doubled our brain power, if not better. And that allows you now to focus 100% of your attention and intelligence on your most powerful why and your true identity, which therefore allows you to actually get it done. Does that make sense? So here's what this was, all right? What we did right now is I gave you a preview of a class, and that class is called The Path, all right? And The Path is a training that I want to give you for free, okay? I'm going to tell you, I'll give you the brief discussion of it, and then I'll go into exactly what's in there. So if you're in a hurry, here's the deal. I want to give you The Path for free. It is a 4-week live training that goes a lot deeper on what we just discovered today. And I'm giving you that as a bribe to go ahead and become a full member of the Kern Inner Circle. Kern Inner Circle is my coaching program, which I lead, which is $397 a month. Now, some of you guys already know what Kern Inner Circle is, and it's not, you just can't go get it. You actually have to have me present it to you like this. So in the event that you want that, I'm going to go ahead and just put the enrollment link up right now. And now I'll tell you about all of this stuff in greater detail. All right, so hang on. Let me pop that in there. Gotta love webinar, Jan. It's so cool. Okay, so you should see the link. So if you want to go ahead and enroll, please do. It's very good. If you're not sure or you want more information, I'll give it to you right now. Okay, and yes, of course, we are live. It's 11:30 in the morning. In 30 minutes, I'm gonna go buy my daughter some jeans. My 11-year-old. I have 3 daughters. All right, but for now, I'll tell you about this, and then I'll take some questions. Okay, so here's the path. This is what I'm giving you for free, as a blatant bribe to get you to become a member of the Kern Inner Circle. Okay, so we start on the 16th of January. I think I said October a minute ago. I don't know why. We start on January 16th. I believe that's next Monday at 10. We go for 4 weeks. I teach it live every single week. And here's what we're doing. And by the way, if you miss one of the sessions, of course it's recorded. Okay, you have access to it forever. So first thing we do is we understand what your most powerful why is. So I went over it pretty briefly today in reverse engineering. Okay, if all other needs were met, what would you do? Okay, that is one part of it, right? There is more to it than that, such as who depends on you? Who are you really being helpful to? So there's a little more to it. So once we find that, then we do more work in uncovering the true identity. What I said, we did it quickly. Today was a preview. Now, once we find that, now we control the input. So I gave you hierarchy of focus. That is a single tool. There are more, right? So remember I told you I had that night, Natalia's dying, she's in the coma. And then, I had all of this stuff become clear to me. It became clear to me of how I needed to think, but it took me all of these years to actually create a system around it. So in doing this and controlling our input, there's a lot more to just the singular hierarchy of focus that I've given you. So there's more exercises to do. And the net effect of that, by the way, is having a much clearer and happier mind. Once we do that, we then say, okay, we're no longer putting crap in the system, right? And now we're feeding this engine that's pretty good, but the engine's still got a lot of gunk in there. Now we got to deprogram and destroy, right? Me asking you, okay, what limiting beliefs have you been told? And then you setting them aside for a minute doesn't actually deprogram and destroy those beliefs. It feels good for a minute, but there's a tremendous amount of work that is very pleasant and empowering to do that needs to be done to get rid of that shit. Because even if you're just 20 years old, you've had 20 years of stuff going into your mind that is probably very counterproductive to what you want to accomplish. Ever watched a movie where the bad guy's rich? Oh, there you go, right? I mean, we're subconsciously programmed to think that in order to be rich, you have to be a bad guy. In order to make money, you must do so at the expense of others. You should never talk about your skills. You don't want to be a show off. Who do you think you are? All that kind of stuff is messing you up. We got to get in there and get rid of it, right? And destroy it. But just doing that isn't enough. We also now have to replace it with an entirely different mental operating system and an entirely different set of habits. And this will give you the mental strength to really go out and kick ass, right? I was at dinner the other day, Friday night, with a friend of mine, and we were talking about Elon Musk. And this dude knew at age 10 that he was going to change the world, right? Now, everyone's got the same neurons, the same atoms, everything. Like, we're all fundamentally the same. God says all men created equal. I believe it. Why did he go out and accomplish such an incredible amount already in his life where we struggle with things like creating opt-in pages? It's because there's a different mental operating system, right? And that's not the singular reason. That's very, very powerful. He believes different things. He thinks differently. I think differently than I did years ago. That's why I've been able to have every year the best year of my life, right? So once we do that, it's still not enough, okay? The next thing we need to do is focus on what I call the war chest. Here's what I mean by that and why it's important. You are, I'm going to assume, because you're here, an entrepreneur. As a result of being an entrepreneur, it means you are a achiever. You're a very high achiever. You set the bar very, very high. You might not realize this, but you are, in my opinion, superior to what I call civilians. That is, people who are not entrepreneurial. And the reason why is because you're always building. You are always working towards production. That is the very nature of the entrepreneur, to produce and create value in exchange for reward. See, you're like the 1% of the world that actually does that. But because of that trait of yours, and you can agree with me, I'd like to know if you agree, actually, you probably are doing all manner of stuff, right? You're like, yeah, man, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it could be a business idea. It might even be daily tasks, right? And here's the thing. Most likely, shit, there's no most likely. I can tell you this was 100% typical. I'll stand behind this. Definitely, there's like between 5 and 80 or 5 and 20% of the stuff that you're doing actually matters. So 100% of the results, the significant results, are coming from a fraction of what you are doing, right? That's 80-20 rule, basically. And it is, I believe it to be 100% true. And I believe it applies to everything. So what we do here is think about this. Now we've got now your mind is strong. So it's like now you've got this incredible fuel to go into the engine, but now the engine is doing like 9 million things, right? What we're going to do is we're going to stop doing everything except the stuff that is giving you the most significant and powerful results. And we're going to do it for others too. We're going to focus on what are you doing for your marketplace that gives the most significant and powerful results. So we'll take all of this power and then we will apply it to just the stuff that matters. Okay, so this is where we get exponential growth from. And why I call it the war chest is because once we find just those things that actually matter, then we begin building the tools and processes and systems to support just that stuff. Okay, and that's why I call it the war chest. And that was the biggest thing with my business personally, is understanding that I do like 2 things that actually matter. And once I've learned that, I stopped doing all of the other stuff and just do the 2. And that's the end, right? And so now, best year ever, over and over and over again. Less stress, less worry. I'm working today on a Sunday because I want to, right? I enjoy doing this. I get to do what I like to do. But just doing this is not enough if we don't reinforce everything, if we're not constantly vigilant, we don't protect the true identity, if we don't protect against that old programming coming back into your mind, if we don't just viciously protect your new mental operating system, you're going to fall back into the old patterns. It's normal. You've had your entire life of old patterns. We're trying to undo an entire lifetime of stuff. So that's why we have what I call a reinforcement loop. And that has basically 3 things: your input, your environment, and your associations, right? So we change those to constantly reinforce this. And that class is 100% free. It's live for 4 weeks. We do it every Monday live. If you miss it, it starts on the 16th, by the way. If you miss one of the sessions, of course it's recorded and it'll be in a members area for you forever. Okay, so why would I do this for free? By the way, you can't get the class at all unless you accept it as a blatant bribe to join the Current Inner Circle. So that's the name of my coaching program. And here are the benefits of being a member. Here's what you get. So first thing, my favorite part is the live video conferences. So every other Wednesday, it's the 2nd and 4th Wednesday. So this upcoming Wednesday, we have one. 2nd and 4th Wednesday of every month. What we do is we get on live video. It's not like this where I'm from my home. We have a studio. I spent 80 grand building the studio, signed a $400,000 lease just to do these live video conferences. And it's worth it because you can actually get on with me personally. I can review your site. I can help you with your offer. I can tweak your copy, improve your sales process. Anything you need, we do it together and we do it live. And the natural question is, well, how many of these can you do? I've never finished a session where anyone was left. Okay. So we do them until they are done, period. That's it, right? We never leave anybody hanging. So if you need help, you get it from me personally twice a month. If you want to get on camera, you're on camera. We have the technology to do that. You and I can be split screen. It is exactly like we're in the same room, except you don't have to leave home. You have to put on pants if you don't want to. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure some members are pantsless half the time. I don't have visual proof of this, and I'm glad not to. We do that every other week, by the way, every other week. So imagine, would it help you if I was reinforcing and helping you stay focused on what you want and tweaking it every other week, right? But that's just the tiniest beginning of what you get as a member. On top of this, every month, I send you a package with secret documents and hard drives. And included in that package is something called Get Money Now. And that is a fully deployable marketing campaign in a box. You get the blueprints, the process maps. I'm literally walking you through how to implement everything. Plus, on top of that, I'm giving you a special hard drive with videos of me personally showing you how to use it. And when I say I'm giving you everything, I'm giving you the templates, the swipe files for all the copy, the emails, the sales letters, the videos. You get everything. Plus, you get a process map showing you how to do the automation. And if there's anything technical I need to show you, I do it on video as well. So there's the same as you saying, all right, man, will you build me a framework for campaigns I can use over and over again? I'm like, sure, but it's not going to be $40,000. I'll do it for $397. I do that every single month, but I don't stop there. I also send you a newsletter. Now, this is physically mailed to you. I don't think we're going to get a lot of value out of making you log into a members area. You've joined membership sites before, right? I'm going to venture to guess that you didn't consume it all and it kind of fell by the wayside. I think if I physically mail it to you so you can hold it every single month, then you're going to get more value from it. So I'm also physically sending you a newsletter, but newsletter isn't really the best term for this. This is a document where I'm revealing the results of the massive tests I'm running every single month. I'm showing you what's working, how I'm creating extra revenue, where the new traffic sources are, and more. This is literally like an up-to-the-minute field report sent from the front lines of the cutting edge of internet marketing. You will be looking over my shoulder as I test new offers, create new campaigns, write new ads and sales letters, and grow money. So here's what that means. That sounds really good, but you've heard that kind of stuff before, looking over my shoulder. What do I really mean by that? Well, here's what I mean. We spend in my business just on our stuff. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I never talk this much. We're spending just on our stuff between $60,000 and $120,000 every month on ads, just to sell my stuff. I don't use affiliates, as you probably know. I don't do those big launches and stuff. I don't do that. I get 100% of the business from advertising in the real world. And the reason there's such a wide swing in numbers, by the way, is because it's seasonal. So for example, in November and in later December, because like Macy's and everyone is buying up all the ad inventory, we spend about 60. As we get closer to the summer, we spend around 120, right? It just depends. But either way, we spend a crap load of money every single month advertising. So what I do is I show you what's working, not in theory, not some shit that worked in like 2010 because I got my buddy to send my offer to his list who already knows, likes, and trusts me. You know, I'm not showing you how to hit home runs when someone just like lobs the ball to you gently. I'm showing you what's working in the real world. This is literally like getting a call from me personally every month, giving you a behind the scenes rundown of everything that's actually making the most money right now, then showing you how to model it in your business really fast. And the way I do that is I'm literally not only like giving you pictures, article, like here's it, like, you know, written down, here's the test I ran, here's the swipe file of it, here's the copy. I'm also making a video personally where I'm showing you. I send it to you on a hard drive. I'm like, okay, here's the ad. Notice the framework of this ad. Here's the landing page. Here's what happens after they opt in. I'm giving you every single thing. The only other possible way you could get this is if you came to my office and worked with me every day for a month, shoulder to shoulder, doing that. All right. So you're probably wondering, well, what does it cost? Well, I kind of briefly mentioned it earlier, but as a member, you're getting everything: the live video conferences, the Get Money Now marketing campaign in a box, the look over my shoulder newsletter, the hard drives with the videos. I'm literally personally showing you how to implement everything, physically mailing all of this to you every single month for just $397 a month. And by the way, there is no contract. I'm not trying to hook you into something. You can cancel anytime. I'm going to tell you how to cancel right now. Okay. So if you're considering joining and you're worried, like, man, is this going to be one of those damn things? If I don't like it, I got to call them 7 million times. No, it's not. Here's how to cancel. Write to support@frankkernhelpdesk.com, or simply go to frankkernhelpdesk.com and enter a support ticket. When you do, it does not go to the Philippines to some team of people who don't know you. It comes to San Diego, to our office right across from the Cinepolis movie theater, right next door to the police station in Carmel Valley, right there by Del Mar, California. And it is answered by a man named Tyler Dorsey. He might even be on right now. If he is, Tyler, say, hey. It is Sunday, though. But Tyler will answer that email, and he will say the following: okay, done. Is there anything else I can help you with? And that's all. So we're not like, you've known me. I don't have strangers on this webinar. So y'all known me for a long time. We're not trying to rope you in. If you don't find value in it, then don't stay a member. But if you leave, naturally, I'll be disappointed. I'll feel like I failed you. But if you leave it, you can still keep the path for free. In fact, you can keep everything I sent you for free. It's yours. You don't have to send anything back. Just let me know if you want to cancel, and we're all good. So the path is yours to keep free just for becoming a member. Now, let me talk to you about the membership dues. Okay, like I said, it's $397 a month. That's not a ton, right? It's not going to kill you. You probably won't really notice it if we're honest, right? At the end of your life, you're not going to be on your deathbed going, oh, if only I hadn't spent that $397 that time seeing if current stuff was worth the shit, right? But it is enough to keep fruitcakes out. So part of what you're getting is you don't get access just to me, but you meet your fellow members. In fact, we're having an event in March. It's members only. It's free. So you're not going to have to listen to people saying, hey, who wants to join my latest get rich quick scheme? This is a membership full of real people that are doing real stuff. We have really impressive, good, solid membership. So, and I believe, by the way, that it's really irrelevant. The $397 just doesn't matter, because I think for the right person, membership should pay you. That's what I built this to do, is to give you a measurable return. Think about this. Ask yourself this, okay? Would it be worth $397 for me to create a marketing campaign for your business this month? Meaning, if I wrote a sales letter, well, imagine I'm at a seminar on stage. I'm like, okay, here's how marketing campaigns work, right? Here's how the automation works. Here's what a video sales letter should look like. Here's what the email framework should be to get them to click, to follow up if they don't buy. Here's how to do a deadline. And I'm doing all that stuff. And I say, by the way, if you would like me to just build this for you, so all you've got to do is just cut and paste and plug it into your system, I'll do it. And it's going to be, I'm only going to do it for 5 people, and it's going to be $5,000 a person. It would sell out. It would be a table rush. Well, dude, it's the same thing, but it's $397. I'd personally hand deliver it, but it is mailed to you physically every single month. You get the documents, the blueprints, and you get the hard drive with everything on there. So you can literally cut, paste, tweak. That's it every month. Don't you think if you deployed that, right? Now, I don't know what your business is, but I built it for people who are actually doing stuff. Don't you think if you deployed a campaign I created for you, you get a positive return on that investment, considering especially that I'm not just like randomly making you stuff. Every month, we spend $60,000 to $120,000 and get more than that back from the campaigns that we create and test trial by fire. Don't you think it would work? Probably so. If you're like most people, you'd tell me you'd probably pay for your membership several years over just from that one campaign. You'd probably tell me that everything after that one would be gravy, right? You'd be like, shit, dude, I mean, I've got, I'm ahead a couple years now. We're good, right? That's why I send you the complete marketing campaign in a box every month. I want to make this a no-brainer for you. Plus, I feel good, right? I love making members win big. Like, I talk to you every other Wednesday, and I like to see you. And when you say, dude, I did it, it worked, it's great. Makes me feel good. Reinforces my identity, right? Reinforces my reason why. Think about it this way, by the way. Would it be worth $397 for you to spend an entire month looking over my shoulder? Imagine again the seminar environment, right? So we're at a seminar. It's one of those pitch fests, right? And the guy's like a very successful person on stage. They're like, okay, a lot of people, I think the best way to do this is just to get fully immersed in the business. So here's what I'm going to do. I can only take 5 people. But for 5 people, if you're chosen, you can come, you can work in my office every month. I'll show you literally behind the scenes, every single thing I'm doing. We're going to do it for a month. We're going to come in, we're going to meet at 9, we're going to leave at 6. You're going to see me build the pages. You're going to see me write the copy. And I'm going to show you everything behind the curtain personally, right? Well, and it's $5,000 or $20,000 shit. It'd be like $30,000. It would sell out, right? It'd be like even better than the mastermind or whatever. Well, dude, it's exactly what I do in the newsletter, but you don't have to wait a freaking month, because why would you want to spend a month watching me like screw up? Not everything works. Let me just show you what's working. Let me give you the meat, the real gold, right? Why waste all that other time and spend that money? I just send it to you in the mail personally. There's a video. I walk you through it. And I document everything for you in the newsletter. The newsletter and the hard drives are meant to give you that exact same experience. Here's something else to consider. Would it be worth $397 to jump online with me twice a month and help me review your marketing, right? Well, I empirically know that it's worth $9,750 because that's what it costs for one-on-one consulting. That's the fee, $97.50. We talk twice a month, right? So you can pay $97.50. I can do it for you one-on-one if you want $9,750, or you can pay $397 and we can just do it together. That's what we do on the calls. Remember, I told you we have never had a single call where there was someone left who didn't get their stuff answered. So everybody who wants to come in and get helped on the call, we help them. Every single person. So others have paid $9,750 to do it, and they were happy. You come, I'll take it. If you want to do it, I'll take it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I prefer you just join as a dang member. It's easier for you. You'll enjoy it more, and you'll get the benefits of the community as well. You know, speaking of that, like I said, you get to see what your members are doing. I got a text on Friday morning from Ryan Stewman, who's a member. Y'all might know him, hardcore closer. I helped him build a continuity program. He texted me and he said he's up to $100,000 a month already. I got the exact same feedback from Brooke Castillo, who is another member. I call her Brooke Savage. She owns a life coach school and she helps people become life coaches. And she also does a lot of coaching on the area of over drinking with stopoverdrinking.com. I helped her create a continuity program, and she wrote me as well and said she is up to over $1 million a year already if everything stays the same with the stuff that we've worked on together. Now, both of those people are members. They've also both been to my house. I've worked with them one-on-one, but these are the people that you are with. By the way, I'm not telling you that everyone who's a member is going to make $100,000 a month or whatever. I'm just telling you, you get to actually see what's going on. This isn't, just, hey, follow the leader. This is like, let me show you everything. So if any of those scenarios sound like maybe they'll be valuable to you, like maybe, right? I don't know, maybe, shit, seems pretty good. Then it's a no-brainer, okay? It's a no-brainer. You get twice a month, I'm helping you personally. Every month, I'm mailing you exactly what's working, not crap that worked forever ago. It's stuff that's working right now, right? Here are the numbers. Here's what's worked. Here's the revenue. Here's the landing page. Here's the copy framework, literally everything. And I'm giving you a campaign to use every single month. That's why you should accept this bribe, become a member today. There's no contract. You can cancel anytime. Support at frankkernhelpdesk.com. Tyler will take care of you right away. Plus, you can still keep the path for free. And here's something else that's interesting about the cost of this membership, by the way. If you do the math, it's $13.05 a day. What do you think about $13.05? Like, seriously. Like, what if you just someone took $13.05, out of your bank balance that you forgot about, like you signed up for something, iTunes or whatever, like your kids bought 3 movies or something on iTunes. Are you really going to care? Are you actually even going to notice it? Probably not. I did a search on Google because I'm weird for what can you buy for $13.05. Here's what I found. I found all kinds of stuff, but this is the funniest one. A kid was on there and he said, you can buy 1,305 Tootsie Rolls at my school cafeteria because they're a penny each. That was actually on Yahoo Answers. So which would you rather have? 1,305 Tootsie Rolls and the dental bill that follows, or a ready-to-go marketing campaign created by me personally? Let's face it, $13.05 is not going to change your life. If you believe that it will, we have a lot of work to do. You need to go through the path. But what if the work we do together actually has a positive effect? Remember, if it doesn't, just stop doing it. You're not hooked into anything. But what if it works? What's a year from now going to be like if you're a member, you're stoked, and it's actually helping you? What would that look like? Like all that stuff you wanted, what if I helped you get it? It's not like it's an arm and a leg to risk, but what if it actually freaking worked? What if I inspired you to take action? What if I gave you the tools to turn off the overwhelm and to turn on the focus? And what if I helped you and I did the marketing and stuff with you and to a degree for you so you could focus on being the most valuable that you possibly could to your market? So as we know, your rewards would increase from them. What would that look like this time next year? Maybe you'd be on the webinar with me. I don't know, but here's how to find out. Accept the bribe. Become a member today. You're going to be a part of a small group of people who actually do stuff and that motivate each other. You'll discover the greatest cutting edge marketing strategies and stuff before your competitors ever know what hit them. You'll be able to take fresh new campaigns that are created and tested through advertising by me personally and plug them into your business every month. Plus, you get to see me and your fellow members every other week live on these video conferences so you can get the help and guidance and focus that you need. So won't you accept my offer and become a member today? You are under no obligation to remain a member. Join today. If you don't like it, cancel next month. You've only been a member 1 month. You get to keep every single thing for free, everything I send you. Speaking of gifts, by the way, there's one more thing I want to show you. Every new member gets this beautiful box of stuff. This is the new member welcome kit. And that's a great picture. Let me make sure I didn't blow up the webinar. Aurora just texted me. Okay. Someone just asked if we're going over advertising on the calls. Of course we go over advertising on the calls. Okay, so here we go. This is what I'm sending you as well. This is your new member welcome kit. It contains additional training that you absolutely cannot get anywhere at any price. This is only for members. I'm mailing you this Monday. Today's Sunday. I can't mail it to you today. It's going out tomorrow to all new members. The first one's called the Ultimate Offer Formula. Used to be, I would procrastinate on creating offers because it sucked, right? I mean, have you ever had the blank screen of death and you just think, oh, I got to create this webinar. I got to create this pitch. I want to sell this thing, but what do I do? I'm blocked mentally. Well, there's a framework for creating an offer. There's 12 steps to it. This cures that blockage. And this formula allows you to quickly create an offer to sell anything to anyone in any format, whether it's a sales letter, a video sales letter, a webinar, a live on-stage presentation. It doesn't matter. It's always the same framework. So if you want to create offers consistently, and it's a good idea because one could argue that the amount of money we make is also in direct proportion to the amount of offers we make. Doesn't that make sense? So if you want to learn how to create an offer consistently that works, this is for you. I give you the manual that walks you through everything, all the frameworks, the blueprints, the whole 9 yards. Plus there's a hard drive, an additional hard drive here with videos of me personally teaching it to you. And this is meant to be consumed with this guy. This is called advanced closing. And I'm using something I created called close stacking. Here's the deal. You know, in an offer, when you're like, okay, and here's the thing, and you can have it today for, $99.97, and click here to order. And like most people, that's the offer, right? Guess what? That's not the offer. That's the beginning of the offer. Okay. That is the start. There's something we can do called close stacking that compounds the effectiveness of that offer. Close stacking is using any one of 12, what I call stacks, to repitch the exact same thing from a different angle in the exact same sales presentation. There are 12 of them. I've used 5 of them already today, by the way, to resell the same thing, this bribe to you, 5 different times now. There are 12. In this, I give you all 12. I give you the framework, I script them, and I give you examples. And this is a manual for you. That's what this picture is. I'm also giving you a hard drive with videos of me walking you through it personally. If you take all 12 of these and you bolt them onto your offer, you could have your offer work 12 times better, right? Even if it doesn't work 12 times better, it's still going to work better regardless. More is more is good, right? So just these two alone, for some people, this one little thing right here is going to be a game changer for you, right? If you have an offer that's working even a little bit and you start using this, I guarantee you 100% confidence. If you have an offer that's doing okay and you bolt this stuff onto that offer, boom, it's game over. You will sell more stuff just from this one thing. Now, once you have this, now you've got something that you want to send people to, that you're like, okay, let's go, bring it on, right? But wouldn't it be better to send people to that offer if they were already predisposed to want to buy it in the first place? That's what positioning is about, right? So in positioning, what I do is I show you how to build yourself into a personal brand that people want to do business with. So I built this when I built this framework when I was moving away from the quote unquote internet marketing celebrity, drunken, psychopathic surfer Frank Kern. And when I wanted to become a premium branded, actual responsible, sober human being that does intelligent business. So I created this framework to build that positioning for myself. So it is specifically for people who sell A, information, B, consulting, C, coaching, D, professional services, or if you're a thought leader or you're an offer. If you are the face of your company, this is what you want to position you personally as the expert, and to do so in a way that is very helpful to people. So this process allows you to demonstrate you can help your market by helping them in advance of them ever seeing your pitch. Once you have this, now you might want to start running ads, right? So the big idea is meant to work in conjunction with this. So the big idea is a separate training. By the way, in power positioning, I teach you the frameworks and I give you demonstrations and scripting specifically from my own stuff with examples on how I did it in the manual and in video. Big idea now takes you and shows you how to use the concepts of branding from advertising and combine them with direct response so you can use advertising to further convey this positioning to your marketplace while selling. Does that make sense? So you're building a huge personal brand, but you're not wasting money doing it. You're selling things in the process. So if you've ever wanted to have your name associated with excellence in your marketplace, these two are for you. This teaches you how to craft the message. This teaches you how to advertise the message and still sell something at the same time. Our final training is for what do you want to do if you want to now take that to a massive scale. So now you're building this brand and you're doing it in a way that you're doing it through advertising and you're still selling things, but even the ads themselves are building your brand and increasing your positioning. How do you go from doing a little bit to doing like what we're doing, which is 60 to 100 grand a month, and we're only growing that? Well, the last thing I want you to do is just write a check for 60 grand one month and just try it, right? That's not how I recommend it. There's a process to actually scaling your advertising and getting bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And there are 6 steps to it. So when we start any new campaign, we start with like 20 bucks and we'll run, or actually really more accurately around 30 bucks and we'll on a day. So we'll spend 30 bucks one day and we don't expect anything to happen. We just want to see if people are clicking the ads. And if they're clicking the ads, we're like, okay, well, that part works. Let's spend 30 bucks tomorrow. And we'll spend 30 bucks tomorrow to see if they're still clicking. And if they are, we'll spend 30 bucks the next day. And what we're looking for is to see if people are now opting in. We don't expect anyone to have bought anything yet. We haven't spent enough money. We haven't driven enough traffic. We're just looking to see if are they clicking and are they opting in. If they are, cool. We're going to spend 30 bucks tomorrow. And now we're going to keep on doing that for just a little bit, a day or two, to see if, okay, are those people who are opting in, are they opening the emails and like clicking on the sales letter? And if they are, we're like, okay, the system seems to be working so far. We don't really expect to have sold anything yet, maybe something, but nothing much, because we're playing pretty small right now. We're just making sure the machine's working before we really pour on the gas. And then the next couple of days, we're going to say, okay, those people who opted in that are clicking on the sale, are they buying anything? And once we start making sales, we know that the system works. There's only 4 components, right? Are they clicking? Are they opting in? Are they responding to the emails? Are they buying? That's it. Those are the only 4 components. Once we know those are working, then we start to put more and more money into the campaign and tweak as needed. That is a process. I teach you that in this training. I give it to you in the manual, as well as I have another. So now you've got like 5 hard drives here that I'm sending you with videos that correspond with each one of these trainings. If you open the box, this is what it looks like. This is what we are rushing you tomorrow. This is your new member welcome kit. You get this along with your first issue and the path for free. If you want to cancel your membership, you can. You can keep all this stuff anyway, right? It's yours. Doesn't matter. And you can keep the path. So once you accept this offer and become a member today, I hope you do, because I'm 1,000% confident that you will like it. You'll be glad you did. And I don't think you've got anything to lose, because if you're not, just cancel and don't pay the dues anymore. So it's not like you're really stuck into anything. So you've got nothing whatsoever to lose. So what I want to do now is, thank you so much, by the way, for your attention here, as I will come back on the old camera. You should say, there we are. It's my Batman action figure wound still showing. I tell you, right before you're supposed to be on camera, your 5-year-old son, you get Batman action figure elbow to the face. Oh, well. Let me answer some questions for you. I went too long. I'm supposed to be leaving right now to take my daughter. In fact, I'm going to text, if you don't mind. I know this is terribly rude, but it is Sunday and it is family day. So if you don't mind, hold on with me just a sec. I'm going to text my little sweet girls and say, I'll be ready in 15. Hang on. Actually, sorry, guys. Yeah, Ava already texted me. Where are you, Daddy? She wants to go get those jeans, man. She needs new blue jeans. You got to provide. I want to as well. Okay. Natasha, Ava, boom. There we go. Ready in 15. Exclamation point. There we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know that's a bit tacky of me, but I don't want to leave them hanging. I told them I'd be ready at noon, so I'm going back on what I said. So we got 13 minutes. I can take questions. So Aurora, apparently there was one in chat, and I'll look at the chat here in a minute. She says, questions on if you will be going over paid advertising on the FKIC calls, on the inner circle calls every other week. Yes, I will, and I do. I go over all kinds of stuff. Here's what's working. It's really cool. And I go over your advertising. So if you want to show me your ad, if you want to show me like all that stuff, that's when I want you to do it. So yes, that is my favorite thing ever, is the paid advertising stuff. Let me see if we're still cool here. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I know I don't normally do this, but it is Sunday and it's family time, you know? So I'm going to just take a couple more. I think I just violated like what never to do in a webinar when you're trying to get someone to like join a coaching program is text your wife and children, but sometimes you got to do it. Okay, let's see here. On, if you don't mind, put a like question mark by it. I think you can do that in the chat, so I'll know it's a question. Okay. All right. Adam says, how to actually change my lazy identity into hardworking consultant. Well, do what I told you, right? So what is the greatest value you can provide as a consultant? Like the greatest thing you could do. So if you're already rich, what would you then give to your clients? How would you really support them? Now, the question is, who do I have to be to actually do that? That's the identity. So now you know who it is. Making the shift from I believe I'm lazy to becoming that person mentally is what we do in the path. So that is the answer. It's not like, oh, you just say I'm not a lazy consultant anymore. No. It's better than saying you're lazy, but there's more to it than that. You identify, okay, what needs to be the self-image based on that question. What would I do to provide the most value? Answer that. Who do I have to become for that to be inevitable? Answer that. Then let's work on it in the path. It takes time, dude. It's not, I'd love to say, okay, man, we just press a button and boom, everything's cool. If, we make an infomercial and lie to people and say that, but it's not going to actually happen. It takes conscious effort. We got to deprogram the bad shit. We have to identify what you want. We have to identify the real drivers behind it. We have to reprogram what it is that you want to do. It's work. It's fun work, potentially the most rewarding work you'll ever do, but there's not like a one quick answer. Okay. Tara says, are these actual manuals or are they ebooks? No, they are actual sent to you in the mail. Hang on. I've got one. Hang on. Let me show you. You're not going to see me for just a second. I'm going to walk over here. Hang on. I'm still here, guys. Don't go anywhere. I'm getting this for you. I just happen to have, interestingly enough, one of these kits for you. So this is what I'm sending you. All right, hang on here. Okay, hello again. All right, so professional. Okay, so here's what I don't have the hard drive for this one. This is October's. This is what I mail you, and the hard drive. So there's usually one or two, depending on the amount of data we've got, that come with this. This is all the stuff that's in the new member welcome kit. So here are the manuals. I'm trying to do all that. So here's everything you see. It comes in a binder like this, so you can keep all your stuff in there. And these are your hard drives that everything comes on. So no, I don't, dude, seriously, ebooks are neat and everything. When was the last time you actually read one? Like, I don't know, maybe y'all do. I never read the damn things. Like, I'm like, oh, cool. And then you look, you've got this thing on your computer and you're like, something, and you're like, oh, distraction. And, so personally, I got to have the stuff in front of me. And I figure if I want to give you the most value I can, I'll take the added expense and personally mail it to you so you can use it. Okay. Fira says, I'm in the process of launching. Where'd it go? A productivity tool. Remember, will you give feedback on the sales pages? Hell yes, I will. That's my job. I love doing it. Okay. Bridget says, you mentioned that your format structure of this webinar is not a good one to model for sales. Are you sure? Your personal story and your suggestions that you covered in the webinar made me sign up for your inner circle. Well, good. That was what it's supposed to do. However, technically speaking, I'm not really following the perfect sales webinar formula. So the only reason I made that disclaimer is if someone's watching it to model, I don't want to mess them up. I don't want them to think, oh, okay, we need to get directly on camera and tell deeply personal stories and then make a pretty light pitch. I'm glad it worked and everything, but who knows? Maybe it works better. Okay, let's see. Dave says, how do you decide on the right price to charge for a product or service? Is there a system for that? Dude, okay, so it depends on what you're selling. There is to a degree, like for example, I do a lot of business to business selling. So I think, okay, let's say you're working and you're helping financial advisors and you say, okay, what is the average value of one client to that advisor? And let's say it's $5,000. It's usually about $6,500. And then you say, okay, how many clients would I help this person get? And let's say the answer is 10. So, okay, that's $65,000. That's what it's conceptually valued at. And then you say, well, now what would make this a no-brainer? And then you base your price on that. So you might say, well, 6,500. And then the logic is, dude, don't you think we can get one? Well, that's worth 6,500. So clearly we got this. That's one way to do it, is that type of reverse engineering. Another way to do it is my personal method. I shouldn't tell you that, which is now this is scientific process. I call it the rectal extraction method. And that's where you just pull it out of your butt. I'm like, it'll be 4705, 48, 23, 4860. It's 4860. I mean, I just make it up, the price, as long as it's fair and I don't think it's overcharging them and I think the value's there, I just pull it out of my butt. And it's always worked for me. With that said, there's probably like a much better way to come up with pricing, but it's really based on what I want to charge. Okay. Alrighty. Theodore says, how can I get Infusionsoft set up while living in one of the countries that are not allowed to receive money via PayPal? Being able to receive money via PayPal doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to your ability to get Infusionsoft. But you will need like an actual way to accept money to sell anything. So depending on what you're selling, as long as you meet their underwriting guidelines, I would highly recommend Stripe. And Stripe has this service called Stripe. Interestingly enough, it just dawned on me, Stripe Atlas, where if you are not US based, they will help you set up a US corporation and get the banking for that corporation and file all the paperwork. So you can then have a US merchant account all through Stripe. And it was $500, I think. Google it, Stripe Atlas. Pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Bob says, how many people are there online with you each session? Typically, we've got about 250 online with us every session. Okay. My goal is to have it be too many where I need more, like where I just need to do the calls more often. They're my favorites. I love doing the calls. All right. So I want to do more of them. And if we get to that point, I definitely will. And I'm working towards that. That is my mission. I'd love to be doing one every day. It's like we just have too many people on. We got to keep doing them every single day. That would be delightful. But for now, about 250 people get on there every time. And then the rest of them watch the recordings. We also, I didn't tell you this, have a Facebook members only group. And I'll post the calls that same day in the group. And we mail you the recordings of the calls as well. So if you miss them, you're gold. R says this isn't live. You're right, R. I somehow... Sergeant Stadenko, I somehow went into the future, knew you would ask that, and recorded myself answering your question on today, January 8th at 12:10. So you got me, sir. And this is still recording right now. I'm at 12:10. I've figured out how to get my phone. Oh, hell, you can't see it. To say 12:10 right when I'm telling you it's 12:10, to trick you into thinking that it is live when I've really recorded it. You got me, sir. Well done. You got us, y'all. It's live, dude. Come on. Okay. Danny says, is this membership good for beginners or is it too advanced? If you don't have anything to sell, I wouldn't do it because I don't really cover how to create new products. I don't start at how to create a business. I've done that, but I like to work with people who are already doing things. It's more rewarding to me. So I know that's like the worst pitch ever. Most people would say, oh yeah, dude, you'll figure everything out you need in this. You will, but it's going to be, I don't say, okay, here's step 1 to start a business. Here's step 2. It's not really for that. I'd love to have you, but I don't want you to be disappointed. So no. Okay. You're still welcome to join, but dude, okay. Let's see here. Did I already answer this on Nilk? ANILK, I think. I can't see that great. And it's moving. It says, where'd it go? Hang on, dude. I don't want to mess you up here. Where'd you go, man? I missed your question. All right, it was the relationship expert guy, and it's just gone. It's so weird. Huh. Okay, well, Dave said, does your process and model for the path work for health issues where you're not sure if you will fully recover? I mean, no. I have zero to contribute to physical health other than I can help you make the decision to stop doing unhealthy things and start doing healthy things. For example, I don't drink alcohol at all, and I go to the gym constantly. And I did that because of the self-image shifts that I did. But in terms of overcoming disease or whatever, I'm not even remotely qualified to help with that at all, other than to just simply encourage you and wish you the best and support. So I would love to help you the best I can. I want you to know that I don't have the expertise to do that. So Right. Okay. So, all right, dude, here we go. I found you again, Anil. I am the most powerful relationship expert on the planet and need marketing help. Can you help me? Yes, I can. And I've worked with a lot of relationship experts, and I've helped them sell stuff. Okay. This person who identifies as Sergeant Stadenko, which is an inside joke. If y'all have known me for a while, I did that Spadenko video. So amazing to hear your story. I had drug-driven fall from grace that made me question who and what I was, messed me up good. The point is, back in the day, I saw the same drinking and using attitude in you back on the Sombrero stage party, drinking crazy with the homies. I forget the name of it. That was actually Moffat that was in the Sombrero, but we were partners in debauchery. He got his act together too, my man. Okay, Janet says, I'm doing a business building course where I'm learning how to create my course and digital products. Can I join later? Is this a one-time opportunity? The path starts on the 16th. So I don't know if I'll do it again or not. I mean, I'll record it for y'all, but I don't know if I'll teach it live or not again. Okay, but you're welcome to come on. Let's see here. Okay. Thank you, Chad. Apparently Chad joined. Thank you for Chad. Janish, great, Frank. Like butcher a new member's name. Thank you for becoming a member, Chad. That's awesome. Now, there's another thing I want to tell you all about, and then I will go. Let me make sure. I'm still talking to my wife and daughter at the same time here. I know I'm terrible. Oh, cool. Okay, Natalia's drying her hair, so this is good. Perfect. I have a little more time. One thing I forgot to tell you. A lot of members don't even know this. I made this decision. I wrote about it in the December newsletter, which just arrived a couple weeks ago. But I have created this thing for members called the Golden Ticket. So if you are a member in good standing and you want any of my stuff, it is yours. You can have it. That means if you're a member and you want high-level fellowship, or you want advanced consulting system, or you want client acquisition system, or you want mass control or list control, or whatever. If you're a member in good standing and you want that, you can have it for the one-time payment of $0. There's a catch, though. Here's the catch. You have to tell us. So write to support. This is if you're a member in good standing. This is how Golden Ticket works. Write to support at Frank Kern Help Desk and say, I would like this product. Boom, Tyler will hook you up. The second catch is it doesn't apply to like coming to my house. Sometimes every quarter I'll have 6 people come to my house, and it doesn't apply to that. Nor does it apply to professional services where if like I'm physically going to build something like a complete sales letter for you. That's kind of a given. The only other catch is we limit it to 1 course per month, because I don't think anyone in their right mind should go through 2 of them per month for me. I think it'll drive you crazy. But that's how Golden Ticket works. So anything you want, you got it, right? You can have it. Just write to Tyler. This is for all members in good standing. Additionally, we have a members only workshop coming up in March, and it is free to members. It's at the end of March. Aurora knows the dates. I don't have them offhand, but the end of March, probably like last Thursday and Friday in March or something like that. That's 100% free to members. And I'm just doing it because I can. And I think it'll be cool. Okay, let's see here, homies. All righty. You're welcome, Dave. Thank you. Robert Jansen has joined the inner circle. That done got him. Good. Now look, Robert, now you've done it. Okay. Okay, let's see. 16th of January is when the path starts. Ursula with a Z. Okay. JL says, haven't taken the path class yet, but I think it would help with the health problems in regards to how you feel about them and your anxiety and stress. Maybe so. Being able to take care of that stuff medically while focusing on who and what's important. Oh, shoot. In life can go a long way to recovery. Well, I agree. Okay, let's see here. Afira says, where's the workshop going to be held? Duh, that's a pretty good question, sir. It will be held here in San Diego. Okay. Ed says, I have a business partner. Can we both join for $397? Dude, just hand the newsletter to your business partner. You're fine. You don't need, I mean, you're welcome to both join, but if you're at the same office, why not just be like, hey, dude, here. I mean, just be like, hey, man, here, read that, you know? So, no, you're good. That's awesome. Very nice of you to ask that. Thank you. Okay, let's see here. I agree, Dave. Thank you. All right, let's see here. I'm going to find some questions. Every time y'all ask something, it moves them down, so I'm getting lost here. Sorry. Okay. Well, no questions. Okay. That's so weird. It just like went away. Or the same person who self-identifies as R and thought we were not live now asks the question. Here's my recorded answer, sir. I'm just going to keep messing with you about this just to be funny. I'm not trying to give you a hard time, R person. Is list building still important if using the advertising model? Yeah, it is. It is important. The question, though, is, or rather, the thing to focus on is quantity of list is not nearly as important as quality of list. My list is not huge. Combined, I have about 150,000 subscribers. I've cleaned it over time, and really, only about half of those people I really consider to be on my list. The other half are older and they don't respond as much. So really, I mean, truthfully speaking, my entire list is like 70, maybe 77,000 people. And I only add around 3,000 new people to the list every month. And I don't get opt-ins anymore. I have an entirely different system. I actually go over it in the newsletter. But yeah, I mean, having a list is pretty good, but it's not like, hey, let's just get, when we go out and get 10,000 random people, it's who matters more than how many. Okay. All righty. Ed, you're fine, dude. Fear nothing. I got you. Okay. Bob says, is there a progression every month? If I join now, I have the same session than the people who are in the inner circle already for a few months. Yeah. I mean, it's boom, it's real time, Okay, so it's like not canned or pre-formatted or anything like that. Okay, let's see. David just joined and excited to begin. He owns an IPTV show. Do you teach how to promote video products? Dude, I believe it's all the same. Like human buying decisions are always going to be the same no matter what the thing is. The sales process might change, meaning the mechanics of the sale may change depending on the thing being sold. For example, it is highly unlikely to sell a financial services agreement, such as purchase of annuity, life insurance, estate planning, through a sales letter without human interaction, right? So the emotions to make that decision are the same, but the process of actually selling, meaning you're going to have to talk to them before you sell, that's different. But as aside from like that example, which I know has no bearing on the video stuff, sales are sales, dude. I mean, seriously, it's the same thing. At least that's my 17 years worth of experience. Okay. Thank you, Sergeant Stadenko, for your kind words, sir. All right. Thank you, Jonathan. Okay. All right. Tara, I agree with you. Kyla Dillard came in as well. We got David. Kyla has joined. Thank you all so much. I really think you're going to be very happy with the membership. I didn't mention this on the training, but our business is entirely based on this. This is all we do. So every single bit of focus and energy that I personally have in business is dedicated to the membership. We don't have other stuff, right? I've got other products, but they all lead to the membership. The purpose of everything is the membership. We started it in August and it has grown exponentially since then. Dude, as a matter of fact, let me tell you all something, a little secret. But since you're here, I'll let you know. It's all part of my scheme. So I like to create. I have to create. I love creating, right? New stuff. And I create new stuff for the members. And I also like to create new stuff for the community. And so it used to be, I would just create new stuff and then create another $10,000 or $5,000 or $2,000 course and sell it. And then just like kind of put that in the automated machine. I don't plan to stop creating new stuff, but now I just give it away to the members. So the next thing, we'll finish the path. Path starts on the 16th. On the 22nd of February, the next class, which is free to members, is going to be a class on how I created the continuity program. So we hover right now at about $417,000 a month in revenue for our newsletter. We will grow that to exceed $500,000 a month by the end of really by the end of the first week in February. And so I'm teaching in that class exactly how I've built this program and how the model works. So I'm going to trick the marketplace. I'm going to do a bait and switch on them. Yes, that's right. Everything you've read is true, but it's a good kind of bait and switch. So people who are not y'all are going to think I'm about to sell and launch this multi-$1,000 thing. But instead, I'm going to say, ha, it's free. If what? If you join the inner circle. Guess what? If you join it now, not only do you get it free anyway, but you get the behind the scenes of how I'm creating it all for the sake of getting new members, just like current members are getting behind the scenes of how I've created the path and the marketing for the path to turn them into new members. So it's pretty cool. I'm happy about it. I'm very, very proud of it. Thank you, Tom Bartels or Bartels. I hope I didn't just mess that up. Thank you very much, sir, for joining. That's great. Danny says, instead of an email list, are you using targeted Facebook audience with remarketing? Yes, to both. I do both. So yeah, we buy, most of our ads are Facebook and YouTube. And we will switch soon to testing Google Content Network, which means banner ads. But right now, Facebook and YouTube are working so well, I'm going to maximize those. But yeah, but oh, you know what? I think Danny heard me earlier say I'm no longer building email lists. I build buyer lists. So I get about 3,000 new people a month, but they're all buying stuff. So my funnel, I have a single funnel, one single funnel that feeds into this membership. And we pour all of our ads into that funnel, which is my book funnel, which is a book for consultants who want to get more clients. So they come into that funnel, there's some other stuff in there, and then they ultimately end up in a series of campaigns that promotes this membership. That's how we grow the membership. That's why I don't get a big list. I get buyers. One buyer is worth 10 random subscribers, you know? Okay, cool. All right. Thank you very much, Firas, for your kind words. Thank you, Tom. I thanked Tom already. I'll double thank you, Tom. I double thank Tom. All right, let's see. Anyone else need some help before I go? Mrs. Kern has probably successfully dried her hair by now. Young daughter Kern is in need of some blue jeans. Really what she needs is a nun's uniform, and she needs to go join a convent. But apparently I'm the only person who thinks that to be true. So instead of joining a convent and becoming a nun, my 11-year-old daughter is getting jeans, which I haven't seen, but already disapprove of and think are either too tight or too short in the waist or something. But we're going to go do that now. So wish me luck on that mission. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Oliver says, I know this is off topic. I just want to know, how do you feel about e-commerce? I love it. It's great. It's not my area. I think e-commerce, he means like selling things like bicycle tires or whatever. I think it's cool. It's not my area of expertise, but dude, it's great. I like info better because we keep all of the money. So in e-commerce, if we're in the calculator selling business, we're going to buy these guys from wherever, you know, calculatorfactory.biz, and we're going to resell them, and we're going to buy them for $10. And we're going to sell them for 15. And we got a 15 or a 50% profit margin on that before advertising and overhead. And eventually at the end of the day, we're making like 10% or 15%. With information, we start out with 100% profit margin. And I like that better personally. That doesn't mean e-commerce is wrong. It's just my personal preference. You're welcome, Ed. Thank you very much. I'm glad you found this helpful, sir. That's great. Okay, let's see. I'm going to thank Tom Bartles again there. For some reason, it keeps coming to the top of my screen there. I'm glad you found it interesting, Norbert. That's awesome. Okay, just want to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Does anyone need any help at all? I don't want to leave you hanging. I always have this neurotic, like, what if someone asked a really important question and I missed it? You know, oh, I didn't congratulate Chad. I congratulate Robert. Got Chad, Robert. Thank all of y'all who've joined. If I missed y'all, I don't want to. Tara says, am I still offering video black box at all? Yes, I do, as a one-click upsell in my book funnel. It works. Okay, Jamie says, what is your ideal cost per, thank you, Woods Davis, by the way, congratulations. Jamie says, what is your ideal, you're welcome, Oliver, cost, dang it, quit moving, per lead or cost per sale with Facebook ads? So for me personally, I can go, well, let me reverse engineer it. A book buyer, a $5.60 book buyer, is typically worth about $35 in the first 30 days to me. So they will spend, your average person who buys a $5.60 book will spend 30-something days or 30-something dollars with me in 30 days. So with that said, I'm okay with paying about $25 a book buyer because I like to make the margin. I like to make a profit in my first month. The real money is made in days 30 through infinity because I have something called the super system. So, and I teach members this is a huge thing, that everything that we build is based ultimately on something called the super system, which is a series of campaigns that continually presents offers to your prospects. So my answer, by the way, to what I'm willing to spend to acquire a $5.60 book buyer is really irrelevant to your business because we might be in totally different businesses. You might have completely different numbers, but that's mine. You know what's funny? Hang on a minute. You want to see something? Let's see some actual numbers. Since I think hair is still not dried, you want to see some actual numbers from the actual newsletter? What do you say? Let's do it, man. Let's knock it out. Okay, I'm going to pull this stuff up for you, and I will pull up the reports from December, which I gave to the members here. Okay, December, Maine. All right, we put that over here and we get rid of all this other stuff. Hang on. Man, when I turn my head, you can really see the Batman wound. My son, he's brutal. Bam, right to the head. Batman action figure. Boys, what can you do? All right, okay, let's see. Let me share the screen with you, and I'll show you the actual numbers. Come on, Freres. Okay. All righty, there you go. Okay, let's see if I can make this a little better. Okay, so this is the December issue, and this is like a fraction of what came in December. So in December, what I really showed you is November. So here is the November spend for Facebook, just on Facebook ads. Now we run Facebook and YouTube. I don't think I had, let's see, I don't have the total ad spend for YouTube because Tom, the agency I use, he buys the ads and the invoices weekly. So it's never like, here was the last month's, it was last week's spend. So I didn't get that for him for the newsletter, but this is just for Facebook. So just Facebook in November, excluding the YouTube spend, we spent 54 grand. All right. From that spend, we sold 1,938 books. Right. So if I do that, I can tell you what we spent to acquire a book buyer, can't I? And November is usually pretty rough too, because of Thanksgiving. So, and anytime you're buying display media, or really just about any types of advertising, and you're competing against big brand idiots who have tons of money and don't actually measure response, your advertising costs go up in the months of November and December, which was the case for just about everybody on the planet. Okay, but it still was pretty good. So 5,400 something. I've got my calculator out, divided by 1938. We spent $28.30 per book buyer to acquire a customer in the month of November, which is higher than normal, but that's acceptable because of the month. All right. So here's like our whole funnel, my entire book funnel. They buy the book, then they can buy a program called Reframe if they want. It's $297. Conversions are okay on that. I sold 73 at the full pay price of $297. That's out of 1,938 people. And then an additional 43 people took the 3-pay option, right? So that's what that is. These are one-click upsells. Video Black Box is also a one-click upsell in that funnel, and that's it. After they buy the book, at the end of those one-click upsells, of which there are 3 in total, they can register for a webinar to purchase or to learn about client acquisition system and to purchase it if they want to. That webinar sells it for $1,860. So I had 4 people who attended the webinar. They bought it at full pay, and I had 7 people buy it at 2-pay. So they could either pay $1,860 up front or 2 payments of $930. All right. So total collected up front was $55,000. Total spend in November was $54,000, right? So my net profit just on that book funnel collected was only $643. But this is, I really want to help you think like this, by the way, because your average person will be like, oh my God, you're dead. Not even close. Remember, Video Black Box is 2 payments of $97. So I got 1 payment up front. I also have $4,600 due next month. This is a 3 payments of $97. I collected $4,100 up front. But over 60 days, I've also got an additional $8,300 because there's 2 additional payments. And that's another $12,000. All of this now is net profit because I've already paid to acquire them. All right. These 2 pays, this is also an additional whatever, $6,500. I just forgot to put it here. All right. So it's $930 times 7 is $6,510. But that's 2 payments. So in the next 30 days, they're also paying an additional $6,500. So now we're at like whatever, $20,000 over the next 60 days in total. So over 60 days, that net profit will grow by about $20,000. This is like me making an investment, getting 100% of the money back from the investment in the first month, and the next month making all the money, which is great. But notice here, I'm actually telling you about it in the newsletter. So in our newsletter, man, I mean, when I'm telling you, I send you through and show you exactly how everything works. I really don't leave any stone unturned, right? We really don't. So it's pretty serious business. And here's what like really works for us, by the way. Oh, here's first 2 weeks of December, by the way. We spent 24 grand first 2 weeks. In December, we got 28 grand up front. So we already netted 4 right there. That's pretty good. That calmed down, right? Now it got bad again over Christmas, and now in January is awesome. Okay. What really works for us, though, just to dork out for y'all, is this sucker. This is something called the super system. Every campaign that I give you is meant to be tied together over time. and something called a super system. So in our funnel, what happens if they go through that front end book funnel and they don't register for the webinar, or they don't attend, or they don't buy client acquisition system, which is like 99% of the people, they now end up in a series of campaigns. So know how I give you a campaign every month? This campaigns I test myself. So it doesn't end at the book funnel. See, that's the real money is made here and all of these other promotions. So it's pretty sweet. Okay. Let's see here. Good. Ed's like, Frank, go see the girls. I will do, but Natalia's still doing her hair, so I'm cool. Okay. Let's see. Rochelle, this might have been private. She says, hi, we schedule members for the calls. Members that want to be on usually are. Not everyone wants to be on live. I think someone named Rochelle was like, dude, how do you get to everyone if there's 250 people on each call? They don't all have questions. Like, we only usually have like 10 people or so that actually want me to help them on that week. And the other guys just like to listen. So anyone who needs it gets it. I'm not like embellishing this, you know, like I know you'd be like, how can you actually help all these members? Because we don't stop until they're helped, right? So if you want to get on, I help you. If you don't, just watch. It's cool. I think Rochelle might have been suspecting shenanigans, which is completely understandable because there's a lot of shenanigans in our community. So I don't blame you, but we do not commit shenanigans here. Okay, let's see here. So that was like kind of, I don't even know why I showed you all of that stuff, actually. I think someone was asking about the funnel numbers. So that's kind of how it works. Okay, Wood says, you mentioned an agency you use spending about 130 grand a month on Facebook. Do you have a good agency recommendation? I don't spend 130 on Facebook. I spend about 100, between 60 and 120 total. It's between Facebook and YouTube right now, for now. We'll also start testing this year, Google Content Network. So for Facebook, I use Dominate Web Media. That is Ralph Burns and Keith Krantz. They are the guys who host Digital Marketers Perpetual Traffic thing. I would not use them unless you already have something that's working and you want to plug Facebook. I don't contact them and say, I want to build a funnel. I've never done it before. You're not going to be happy. That's not what they do. They like take what's working and drive traffic to it. So I'm very, very happy with them. For YouTube, I use Tom Breeze, and the same warning applies. I'm trying to avoid swamping Tom Breeze, like just like Cool Breeze, but tom.com. I don't want to swamp these guys with people without products and without funnels, because they're going to be like, Frank, why did you give these guys our names? I'm going to kill you. So if you actually have something that works, call them. They're great. I recommend them highly. They do all my stuff. If you don't have anything that works, then don't call them, because you're just going to be frustrated. You know, it's like they sell gasoline, but if there's no engine yet, why call the gasoline store? Okay, let's see here. Hey, thank you, Jamie Edwards. Awesome. Rochelle, I hope I answered your question by that. I think Aurora did as well, but still. All righty. Dudes, I think I got it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get me something to eat. I'm going to go buy my little girl some jeans. They're going to be very loose and very baggy. And they're going to buy her like what are those things? A burqa. What's the thing that covers every square? And you just like look and get her one of those. And then I'm going to hire some armed guards to follow her around and glare at people that might stare at her like this, because she's a very cute little girl. She's my little baby. Okay. Happy to have helped you, Rochelle. Wood says, I spend 130 a month on Facebook, 130 grand. Dude, if you're managing that yourself, either A, it's the best possible use of your time because you're brilliant at it. But probably if you're spending 130 grand on Facebook a month, you're probably making more than 130 grand doing the thing that they're giving you the money for. And you'll probably be able to do better at doing that thing if you get someone else to manage your Facebook. Call them Dominate Web Media. I think they have a little thing. And they'll talk to you, you know, like Keith, Ralph, they're great. I never actually talk to them anymore, which is awesome, because I don't want to talk to them unless it's socially, because I just want the thing to run without my input, and it does. And that's great. And it does so profitably. So I can't recommend them enough. So I think you'll like them. I think you'll like them a lot. And dude, if Facebook is working for you, try YouTube. We get pretty good numbers with YouTube. The only caveat is, and you'll understand this because you're running media. If it doesn't make sense to other people who aren't, I'm sorry. It will when you start running ads, but YouTube fatigues a little faster. So like I've been running the same video ads and crap on Facebook forever. YouTube, my ads are starting to get stale because like 1 million people have seen my video ads and they're like, oh, I've seen this one 20 times, you know? So you have to create new ads, you know, probably every quarter or something with YouTube. Oh no, you know what I mean? Pretty simple. Yeah, dude. Call him. Thank you, Parker, for your kind words. I appreciate it, especially if you're my main man, Parker Winder, which you may be. The feeling's mutual, sir. All right. It's off to go. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a good rest of the Sunday. To all of your new members who joined, thank you sincerely. I appreciate it. I will not let you down. You will be happy. And all this stuff is coming to you tomorrow. And you'll like it very much. My advice to you is do not try to go through it all at one time. It'll drive you nuts. Go through it as needed when you feel like it. Or when you hear me say, hey, if you need some help with this, refer to Ultimate Offer Formula. What did I knock over? I think I knocked something over. But don't try to go through all this stuff at once. Just every day, go through the newsletter, get on the calls. Let me help you out. You'll be stoked. Okay, guys, time for me to go. Thank you so much. If you need any help, email support@frankkernhelpdesk.com. Aurora and the team are working today because I have somehow attracted incredible people to work with me and help me. And that's great. Right, off we go. Off I go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hit the stop broadcast button.